Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by the Ray series 125 on WhatIf. Now let's start. Prologue, Midoriya. As the narrator's POV backstory. As a kid, I learned a vital lesson: not everyone is born equal. My life hasn't been great either, all because I'm an orphan. I wanted to get my parents my whole life, so I know what it feels like to have a family. Instead, I've been an orphan, being the only kid getting rejected, and the saddest part is that I never knew my parents. I once believed that I didn't have a future and that no one wanted me, not even my parents. I was told I was dropped off here when I was a baby. All I know about myself is my name and birthday, July 15th. But for some unknown reason, nobody wanted to adopt me. As I stayed at the orphanage, I started to take care of the kids because the owners were real assholes. Their names are 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 and 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐫. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐫 and 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐫 are a married couple estranged from their families. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐫 is a handsome man with slick-cut brown hair, gray eyes, and a strong jawline. He has the appearance of an athlete. 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐫 is an appealing woman with smooth blonde hair, blue eyes, and a figure that could belong to a supermodel. They look like a perfect couple, but they're not. They always argue about having a better life, how their families wanted nothing to do with them, and that they never wanted this in their lives. They hate kids and think they are a waste of time and space. At first, they wanted to eliminate all the kids, but they now have a reason. They'll take kids who come to them free of charge because they found out that the kids make a lot of money. The worst part is that they spend the money on themselves, not even a penny for the kids. Another crazy part is that every time they go out, they have a lot of buddies with them. It changes every time, and even though they cheat on each other in front of each other, they're okay with it. Sometimes, they manage to recruit some professional heroes to join them. Even though the pros see what's happening in the orphanage, they don't do anything and ignore the children's pleas. That pisses me off that heroes are just ignoring help, especially if it's from kids. So, I decided to be the one to take care of the kids. I even had to get a couple of jobs to get enough money to feed the kids food because they were getting either expired or leftovers from them, and some clothes because they were wearing old, ragged clothes. Sometimes, Torval and Sakura saw what I was doing, and I got in trouble. So they either took the money I made, sold the things I bought for the kids, or ate the food. Whenever they're mad and want to take it out on the kids, I tell them to hide, and I'll take the hit. This has been happening for years. I help the kids whenever they get adopted, and when they do, I make sure that the parents are perfect for the Pacific kid. Of course, Torvald and Sakura get mad at me for helping the kids because the parents they chose were terrible. But they also scam the parents to pay an outrageous amount for the kids. They lie to say what they do for the kids and how they do it. So, life in the orphanage is the worst. I hoped that things would change for the better, but by the time I turned 13 years old, my life would change forever. Today Sakura, "Hey brat, get down here and clean this up." She yells as I wake up and prepare to get ready for school. "Midoriya, I'm coming," he tells her as he changes and goes downstairs. As Midoriya walks to the kitchen, he sees some of the kids playing, which makes him smile, but then he hears Sakura coming to them rudely. "Sakura, hey you brats. Stop making noises in the kitchen." She yells at the kids, but they don't listen, and she gets fed up. "Torva, hey. Knock it off, you're getting the..." He came in screaming angrily. The kids stopped what they were doing and were about to start crying when Midoriya stepped in. "Midoriya, hey. Leave them alone." He yelled at them, bringing the kids close to him. They were shocked by this and got angry at Midoriya. "Torvald, what was that brat?" he said while walking towards Midoriya. "Midoriya, I told you to leave the kids alone. They are not doing anything. They are just playing and having fun. They're not hurting anyone," he said, staring up at him because he was pretty tall. "Torvald, you got some nerves to talk to us like that, punk?" he says as he grabs me by the collar, lifting me. As he was lifting his fist, Sakura interrupted. "Sakura, Tenjin, stop. That brat is not worth it." She tells 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. Then she made a smudged face. He's not worth anything. He's only useful because he cleans up the place and watches these little brats. This got Midoriya mad. Midoriya, don't talk about the children like that, you by dash. He says this before 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 interrupts. 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, why? You better shut your mouth before I beat it. He yells angrily, raising his fist and threatening me. Midoriya stopped talking and was put down. Sakura, well then, start to make breakfast for us first and try not to burn anything. She says sternly while walking towards 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. Midoriya sighed in defeat. Midoriya, yes ma'am. He says as he starts to make their breakfast. After Midoriya finished their breakfast, he quickly made breakfast for the kids. After he was done, he called all the kids and told them to eat their food quickly and quietly because they hate it when this happens, but it should be fine because they take their sweet but time mostly. After all, they end up making out and not even finishing their food or bothering to eat it. That's why we have so much scrap food. After the kids finished their food, Midoriya started to wash the dishes quickly, and then he began to get ready for school because it was the last year of middle school. As Midoriya was leaving, he told some of the older kids they were in charge until he returned because he didn't trust 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 and Sakura with them alone. As Midoriya was heading to school, he saw a group of friends just hanging out before school began. This saddened him because it wasn't easy for him to make friends. After all, he was quirkless. Well, sort of. The truth is that Midoriya does have a quirk. How does he know? By the time he turned 4, the hospital would bring a van and have someone get the kids from the orphanage. When it was his turn, they said he had a quirk, which wasn't like any quirk they had seen. They say it holds a lot of power, and they told Midoriya to try to activate it. As Midoriya tried, nothing came out. Then, they concluded that maybe the quirk was too much for him to handle. They said to exercise and eat healthy, and then perhaps it'd activate. They diagnosed Midoriya as a late bloomer, so he pushed himself to his limit. When Midoriya told the other kids about his quirk, one kid said he was quirkless and probably lied about being a late bloomer. That's why it became hard for Midoriya to make friends, but it got worse when they found out he was an orphan and would make some messed up jokes about it. They weren't even funny. The teacher never did anything about it. They just ignored it or encouraged it. When he did tell them about it, they tried to cover it up. That tore him apart, but then Midoriya learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone, especially those who are supposed to. That's why it was hard for Midoriya to have friends. But the truth is, he did have a friend once. They did almost everything together, even helping care for the other kids and dealing with 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 and Sakura. And the best part was, she was an orphan too. Everything was going. And then one day, she got adopted. Midoriya was upset that she'd be leaving, but he had to be happy for her because she was getting a family. She reassured me that she'd come back and visit. Those were the last words she spoke to him. He never saw her again. As Midoriya was walking, he heard an explosion in the distance. He rushed there and saw a battle between heroes and villains. It was so epic that Midoriya pulled out his journal, Hero Analysis for the Future number 13. After the battle, Midoriya checked his watch and saw that he would be late for school, so he ran to school. Midoriya ran to school and class just in time before the bell rang. As he sat down in his seat, the class was about to begin. Part 1. Today, the class started like any other day for Midoriya. The teacher comes in with papers in his hands. He looks at the class, saying, "Teacher, all right, students, settle down, settle down. This year is almost over, and you all will be going to high school," he says as he pulls the papers out in front of them, looking stern. "So that means you all will be thinking about your futures." The students then got nervous from what the teacher said and his expression. "Teacher, but I know what you all want to do. You all want to be heroes," the teacher says as he smiles while throwing the papers. The students minus 2 students were all cheering and using their quirks while Midoriya was focusing on his notebook. "Teacher, the students, settle down. I know you all have amazing quirks, but you know the rules," the teacher says as the students settle down. The teacher was going to continue the class until one student interrupted him. "Heh, come on. Please don't lump me with the rest of these losers. They're nothing but a bunch of extras that'll end up as just sidekicks," a student says as he leans back and puts his feet on his desk. This student said that Midoriya was quirkless and lying about what the doctor told him, and his name was 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. After he said that, the other students got angry with him. Students, what was that, 𝐴𝐵𝐿𝐴? You're so full of yourself, huh? You wanna go? They yelled at 𝐵AKUGO for calling them that and looking down at them. 𝐵AKUGO, oh yeah. You wanna go? I'll take you all on. 𝐵AKUGO yelled back at his classmates, who showed that their words didn't affect him. Midoriya, idiots. He was thinking while hearing everything, shaking his head, finishing up his notebook and shaking his head. Teacher, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. It says, you're going to apply to UA college. The teacher says this while pulling out 𝐵AKUGO's paper. The students are shocked that 𝐵AKUGO is applying to the greatest hero school of all time and that it is impossible to get in, but 𝐵AKUGO doesn't care. 𝐵AKUGO, that's right. I aced the mock exam. I'm the only one from this school who's going to UA. I'm going to become the wealthiest hero of all time. The whole world will know my name, and I'll be better than All Might, even in his prime. He says as he stands up confidently. Teacher, oh yeah Midoriya, didn't you say that you wanna go to UA? The teacher with a questioning look. The whole classroom went silent and turned to him, seeing him still in his notebook. Midoriya then finished his notebook, closed it, and looked at the teacher. Midoriya, yes sir. He said, answering his teacher. Then all the students minus 𝐵AKUGO started laughing. Students, Midoriya. You can't be serious. He is going to UA. They won't take someone quirkless. They say to Midoriya. He got annoyed by what the students were saying to him. Midoriya, okay, what's wrong with that? I won't know until I try, right? And I keep telling everyone that Midoriya said, not paying attention when an angry 𝐵AKUGO interrupted him. Midoriya was about to get hit by 𝐵AKUGO, but then he felt something telling him to dodge to the right. So Midoriya dodged 𝐵AKUGO's attack, and this shocked the whole class. Students, what was that? How did he do that? They whispered to each other. Even Midoriya was shocked by how fast he reacted. 𝐵AKUGO didn't think much of it, so he shook it off and looked at Midoriya. 𝐵AKUGO, forget these extras. You're worse than these extras, Deku. You are nothing but a useless, quirkless Deku. He yells angrily at Midoriya. Midoriya got mad because 𝐵AKUGO was the reason that everyone thought he was quirkless. Midoriya, I told you, 𝐵AKUGO, that I'm not quirkless. I'm just a late bloomer, that's it. He yelled as he explained it to 𝐵AKUGO many times, but he didn't listen. 𝐵AKUGO, oh sure, and I'm All Might, son. Midoriya, please, if you are All Might's son, then I'd feel sorry for him because you'd be ruining All Might's reputation. He said, joking, and this caused the students and even the teacher to hold back their laughs because they thought that was funny. This makes 𝐵AKUGO angry, so he starts to charge at Midoriya. Teacher, 𝐵AKUGO enough. Same with you, Midoriya. Now, to get back on track, he says, stopping 𝐵AKUGO and returning to the lesson. Time skipped to lunch. It was lunchtime, and we saw Midoriya sitting alone, eating his lunch while writing in his hero notebook. He was so focused on his laptop that he didn't see 𝐵AKUGO and his goons coming to him. Then Midoriya felt something again. As he looked around, he sensed an attack coming toward him, and it told him to dodge to the left. Midoriya quickly dodged to the left, causing 𝐵AKUGO to miss and dent the table. All the students in the cafeteria were shocked by this, and even Midoriya's classmates and 𝐵AKUGO were surprised that Midoriya could dodge 𝐵AKUGO's attack again. 𝐵AKUGO, oh, you think you're funny, huh, Deku? He yelled at Midoriya, getting annoyed. The students gathered around 𝐵AKUGO and Midoriya's fight and started chanting, fight. Midoriya, I don't want to fight you, 𝐵AKUGO, he says, not wanting to be a part of this. But 𝐵AKUGO didn't listen and grinned, saying, 𝐵AKUGO, oh, you scared her. Well then, die. He yells at Midoriya as he rushes his right hook. Midoriya quickly dodges the attack. The students were shocked by this again. 𝐵AKUGO was shocked that he dodged his attack again and got more said and threw a left hook at Midoriya, but he quickly dodged it. Students, whoa, that's crazy. How is he doing that? They yelled, becoming more shocked by the minute. Midoriya became more shocked and confused about how he could do this. 𝐵AKUGO threw another right hook, and Midoriya's time went slow as he threw it. "Midoriya, what's going on? What's happening to me?" He thought he could dodge the attack again, but he could look around to see the other students around him. As 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 returned, Midoriya's right hook time went back to normal. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 was getting tired of this, so he rushed towards Midoriya, throwing a big left hook, but Midoriya could dodge it by leaning back to a point where his legs were holding him. Everyone was shocked by this. Midoriya quickly leaned up, turned, and backed away from 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽. Everyone was talking among themselves about how Midoriya was doing this. Midoriya was shocked, and 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 was getting angrier and annoyed. Then, one of 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's goons went behind Midoriya to hold him in place. As he was rushing to do so, Midoriya sensed this and quickly did a backflip while the goon ran through Midoriya. This surprised all the students in the cafeteria, but 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, his goons, and Midoriya were most surprised. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's goon: "He's all yours, 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽." One of 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's goons then turned to 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 quickly turned to one of his goons, getting mad at him, then pushed him out of the way. He turned to Midoriya, getting more frustrated, then started to growl while throwing his hands at Midoriya, but he dodged each punch quickly. Then Midoriya blocked two of 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's punches. Then 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 threw his most potent punch, but Midoriya caught it. Midoriya gripped 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's wrist tightly, then slowly moved it to his face. All the students, including 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, were shocked by Midoriya's strength. Midoriya was starting to get annoyed by this and started to get set off. Then something happened to Midoriya that shocked the whole school. Midoriya started to glow green with lightning surrounding him. Midoriya had enough of this 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐽. He yells at 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 as he didn't notice it but got ready to punch him, who was charging up. Midoriya then struck 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 in the face with such force that it generated intense wind pressure, pushing back nearby students and objects. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 was propelled so far that he slammed into a wall, creating a crater and falling unconscious. All the students were shocked by this, and then they all turned to Midoriya, who was also surprised. Midoriya was staring at his hands as he saw that he was glowing. "Midoriya, my quirk. It's finally unlocked," he thought as he finally concluded. Midoriya saw all the students staring at him, some on the ground while others were getting up. As they saw him turn his head to them, they slowly stepped back because most of them bullied him and did not want to be the next one to be punched. Midoriya got scared that everyone would snitch on him to a teacher, so he ran away and left the school. As he was running, he ran to a beach covered in trash. The beach was called the Takoba Municipal Beach Park. Midoriya didn't see where he was going because the beach was messy. Then he went back to his quirk and tried to activate it. As he activated it, he could barely hold it. "Midoriya, now that I finally got my quirk, that means I can finally achieve my dream of being a hero." He thought of training his quirk so he could have a better grip on it. "Midoriya, but it seems that I barely handle it," he says while being excited. He then stated that he had an idea that would help him. "Midoriya, I'll train myself to handle my quirk better." "But with what though?" he says while thinking of a plan. Then he turned around and saw the trash that was around him. Big and small types of trash, and then it hit him. "Midoriya, that's it. I'll clean up this trash. And I'll be helping the environment," he said while brainstorming a workout plan. Later, Midoriya went to the bookstore and bought some workout books. Then, he returned to the orphanage to do his daily routine after school. He watched the kids, fed them lunch and dinner, and dealt with 𝐴𝐴𝐴 and Sakura. After everything, it was getting late. Midoriya tucked the kids in and then headed to his room in the attic, filled with items he had collected over the years. Midoriya's room was filled with movies, video games, complete TV shows, board games, movie and TV show posters, and a vast library of books, including comic books, manga, graphic novels, science fiction, and fantasy. He had old and new things, primarily retro and popular, that would make nerds happy. Midoriya walked to his bed after brushing his teeth. As he lay there, he thought of his journey to UA College. The truth behind UA becoming a college was that I used to be at a high school, but then there were complaints from parents because one time, a group of villains broke into the school and many students were harmed or killed. So, one day, the staff at UA decided to make it a college because the Hero Association believed that if the students were older, they wouldn't get in trouble for putting young teens in danger. While Midoriya was thinking that, he started thinking of his quirk training and how he'd have to work harder than everyone else to go to UA. As Midoriya turned off his bedside light, he was getting ready to sleep. Midoriya, tomorrow my journey begins, he thought as he went to sleep. This was the start of his journey, and his dream became a reality. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, but this is the retelling of the story of how Izuku Midoriya became the world's greatest hero. Midoriya woke up early the next day to start his workout routine, and today was Friday. He was going to start his workout tomorrow since it was Saturday. As for school, everyone knew about his quirk, so everyone stopped bullying Midoriya. They kept their distance because of how hard he punched Bakugo, and they didn't want to end up in the nurse's office or the hospital. Speaking of Bakugo, Midoriya hurt him so severely that he had bandages on his head, a swollen right cheek, and a black eye. He was angry that he could be beaten with one punch and that Midoriya embarrassed him in front of the school. Now, every student makes fun of him for acting all high and mighty, just to his disappointment and all talk. This made Bakugo resent Midoriya even more, believing he had been deceived and mocked. However, Midoriya had to clarify that this was not the case. Naturally, he remained skeptical of Midoriya and attempted to confront him again. However, the teachers intervened and instructed him to cease. Occasionally, he finds himself in trouble, but the other students help bail Midoriya out. Thus, Midoriya believed it was acceptable. So his life was starting to turn around, but that doesn't mean Midoriya will change from who he is. As for 𝗏𝗏 and Sakura, when Midoriya showed them his quirk, they were surprised and thought that it was not much, but one day when he was standing up for the kids, 𝗏𝗏 was going to beat Midoriya up. But Midoriya's quirk activated again, and he dodged all of his punches. This shocked all the kids, even Sakura. The same thing happened to 𝗏𝗏 as Midoriya did to Bakugo, where he one-punched him, launching him across the room. Sakura panicked and hurried 𝗏𝗏 to the hospital, where he was treated with bandages and neck braces. This incident increased 𝗏𝗏's animosity toward me. However, Midoriya remained indifferent to their feelings. Now, they understand that they should not provoke him, even though they occasionally threaten the kids if he retaliates. This infuriates him further, yet he perseveres for their sake. But with all that, Midoriya left for most of the day to start his workout routine. He returned to Takoba Municipal Beach Park to clean the beach and build his muscles. For the next 10 months, Midoriya could clean the entire beach. The first few weeks were like hell because he could barely move some trash. But as time passed, he could move trash like a refrigerator or a car. As for school, Midoriya would sometimes come in tired because of his workout routine and how much sleep he was missing. Midoriya made time for the kids at the orphanage and their adoption by good parents. After the 10th month, Midoriya started to train to use his quirk. As Midoriya was practicing with his quirk, he met a man named Toshinori Yagi. He watched him during the 10 months he spent cleaning the beach, as he was thinking of how his quirk works. Yagi gave him an interesting suggestion that caused him to reveal that he was All Might. Midoriya was overwhelmed with joy when he finally met his hero and idol. He asked a long-awaited question, leading All Might to affirm that he could become a hero. This heartfelt moment moved Midoriya to tears of happiness. Midoriya then attempted to use his quirk but found it challenging to control. Following All Might's advice, he threw a punch that had a massive impact on the ocean, making it appear that he had split the water in two. It was incredible and very painful. Midoriya looked at his arm and found it swollen and broken. He was screaming in pain while All Might was shocked and scared that his quirk was so powerful that it caused his arm to break. All Might calls someone to come here to heal him. After waiting a while, she came, and it turned out to be a heroine called Recovery Girl. She scolded All Might for making him overdo his quirk. After she'd healed Midoriya, she told him not to overdo it and told All Might to call his old mentor. Following the events, All Might introduced a new training plan for Midoriya. He also mentioned reaching out to his former mentor for help guiding Midoriya in better controlling his quirk. After All Might finished the call from his mentor, he said he'd be there soon. As they were waiting, Midoriya and All Might started talking about each other to get to know each other. So after All Might told him a little about himself, Midoriya told him about myself, but he didn't tell him about him still being an orphan at the orphanage. After talking, they saw All Might's mentor approaching them. Of course, he started to smack All Might for being a terrible teacher. So after that, Midoriya found out he was a retired hero named 𝐴𝐮𝐿, and he was also a staff member for 1 year to train All Might when he was Midoriya's age, before the changed the age requirement. He said he'd start to train him, and he saw All Might being scared, making him think that his training methods must be scary. For the next 2 months, 𝐴𝐮𝐿 trained Midoriya, and, let's say, he now understands why All Might fears 𝐴𝐮𝐿's training methods. His training was pure torture. It was exhausting, but 𝐴𝐮𝐿 instructed him to fetch a frozen pastry in the 2nd month. As Midoriya retrieved one from his bag, realization struck him. He declared to them that he was the frozen pastry. 𝐴𝐮𝐿 and even All Might be confused by this. Then he explained that he had focused his quirk on only one body part. So, he started focusing his quirk throughout his entire body. Midoriya decided to call this full cowling. Since then, he has been able to use his quirk a little better. A year has passed since his quirk was activated. Midoriya graduated from middle school and entered high school. For the most part, high school was going well, yet he still faced challenges making friends. Midoriya continued to be bullied by 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 and now also dealt with a new bully, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. He's more annoying than 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, but doesn't have a big ego like 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻. When Midoriya told his teacher he wanted to go to college, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 said someone like him would never make it. What's worse, he somehow discovered he was still an orphan and started making jokes about it. They were messed up. As I mentioned, it wasn't too bad for him. Midoriya encountered a girl with blonde hair styled in 2 messy buns, striking yellow cat-like eyes and fangs. They engaged in conversation for a short while, but eventually, she vanished, leaving everyone puzzled. Throughout high school, he continued to train for his quirk. However, 𝐴𝐮𝐿 and All Might advised him to pace himself since the entrance exams were still 4 years away. Midoriya complied but still practiced his quirk in secret. Midoriya met another nice person who was short and had brown bob-cut hair that covered her eyes. He met her when some students talked smack about her quirk, so Midoriya stood up for her. After that died down, he turned to check on her, only to not see her behind you anymore. Midoriya got some books about martial arts because he heard that there were times when he couldn't use my quirk. If Midoriya ever runs into Eraserhead, he'll still fight back. Even though he was in high school, Midoriya still managed to make time for the kids in the orphanage. 4 years later, Midoriya just turned. He was nearing the end of high school, with graduation approaching and the entrance exam set for 3 weeks from now. In case you're asking, no, Midoriya's still not adopted, but now it's too late because no one wants to adopt an adult. He gave up on trying to get a family of his own. But enough of that. As for his quirk progress, Midoriya can handle 45% of his quirk. During all this, a new hero made their debut. It was a young heroine named 𝐴𝐻𝐿. She quickly became the 2nd most popular heroine, the first being Midnight. Midoriya ran into her a few times, and she was surprisingly lovely. She even told me that she hoped that he'd make it. He thought that was nice, motivating him to work harder because a hero believed in him. When the graduation ceremony occurred, Midoriya dedicated the following 3 weeks to preparing for the entrance exam. During his training, he discovered that 𝐻𝐿 had introduced dormitories for students to live in. That might be a problem for Midoriya because he doesn't want to leave the kids alone, especially with someone like 𝗏𝗏 and Sakura. After 3 weeks, the day came when the entrance exam began. That was when Midoriya's journey to becoming a hero began. Today was the day Midoriya had been waiting for. The day of entrance exam had begun. Midoriya was standing before the school he had dreamt of attending since childhood. Midoriya wouldn't lie about being nervous as he stared at the building. Midoriya, okay. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can't dash, he was thinking nervously, but he smacked his face to snap out of it. Midoriya was able to calm himself down. As he was going to start walking to someone shoved him hard, and he almost fell. He turned around to see 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 walking next to him. 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, get out of my way, Deku. He snarls to Midoriya as he heads towards you, not even bothering to look at him. Get in my way again, or I'll blow you up into the next life. Midoriya, JRK, he whispers as he fixes himself. Then he starts to walk towards you. As he was walking, Midoriya looked around for possible students for you. But one student caught his eye. He saw a student tripping over her feet, and as she was about to fall, he quickly ran to her and grabbed her before she touched the ground. Midoriya, hey, are you okay? He asked the girl as he helped her back on her feet. As he looked at her, she had brunette hair color with a bobbed hairstyle, her face was round, and she had a rosy blush on her cheeks. Midoriya, oh, she looks cute. It's like I'm looking at an angel or a princess, he thought as he stared at her, but he quickly got that thought out of his head while the girl was still looking at him. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for helping me, she says, smiling cutely at Midoriya while she claps her hands together. Midoriya thought of how cute the girl's smile was. He didn't know too much about it. Midoriya, oh, it was nothing. I just did what anybody would do. Plus, I think it would be bad luck if you fell, he says to her while he scratches his head, blushing a bit and being modest. But still, thank you. I was so nervous about today that I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking, she says, smiling and scratching her head. Midoriya, it's okay to be nervous. Heck, I was getting nervous as I was walking as well. He reassures her that it's okay to be nervous. Okay, well, thanks. That's making me feel better now, she says, thanking him again for helping her. Midoriya, oh well, you're welcome. He says as he realizes he doesn't know this girl's name. Oh, sorry. I forgot to introduce myself. She was saying before getting interrupted by an intercom saying that the exams will start soon. Oh, CRP. We should get going before it's too late. She says as she runs towards the entrance with Midoriya following behind. Time skipped to 2 hours once Midoriya finished the written portion of the exam. He and the rest of the examinees were in the auditorium as he sat down. Unfortunately, he sat right next to his former childhood friend. It was Katsuki Bakugo. Midoriya, great. Just what I needed. He thought as he turned to face the stage. After a few minutes, someone came to the stage looking like a punk rock star with blonde hair and a speaker around his neck while wearing sunglasses. It was a pro hero called the Voice Hero, present mic. Hey, little listeners. I want to say a few words before we start. Welcome to today's live performance. Everybody, can I get a hi? He yells at the contestants, trying to get them excited about the exams. He was met with silence throughout the whole stadium. Present mic. Keeping it mellow. That's fine, and I'll skip straight to the main show. Let's talk about how this practical exam will go down. He says as he makes hand gestures similar to a DJ. Are you ready? Can I get a yeah? He shouted excitedly, trying to rile up his audience once again, but once again. He was met with silence throughout the whole stadium again. Present mic. This is a tough crowd. Don't be shy. Anyone. He continued, crossing his arms. He pouted as he muttered that last part. While this was happening, Midoriya watched the hero with more lively and bright eyes. His fanboy side took over, which made him forget that he wasn't alone. Midoriya, oh my god, the Voice Hero, present mic is so cool. I always listen to his radio shows. His quirk is one of the rare quirks that have manifested since BR. I couldn't let it out of my notebook, it was also strong and cool. He can create sound waves so powerful that they can destroy steel. All thanks to his voice. He said as his eyes brightened with excitement. He unconsciously straightened his back, and his face became more excited. His voice was hushed, but not to those close to him, especially Bakugo. Bakugo, shut the hell up, you effing nerd. Keep doing your creepy muttering again, and I'll blast you right up where the sun doesn't shine. Got it, Deku? He yelled at Midoriya for fanboying about present mic while other student applicants had mixed reactions. Some were snickering, some were annoyed, some were indifferent, and some were disgusted about the ash blonde's behavior towards the brunette. Midoriya was about to say something until someone on his right interrupted. Ribbit, hey, don't spout mean things at him. He didn't do anything wrong. says a girl who sat next to Midoriya and spoke up to 𝐒𝐵𝐲. As 𝐒𝐵𝐲 looked to his left to see who called him out, he saw a green-haired girl with facial features resembling frogs staring back at him angrily. This made the ash-blonde Pomeranian look around to see the other students looks at him, which made 𝐒𝐵𝐲 sit back down in annoyance. 𝐒𝐵𝐲, teeth, whatever, he says to the girl before calming down and looking the other way so he won't have to look in Midoriya's direction. Once the little bit of intense conversation was dealt with, at least for the time being, the frog-looking girl sat back down in her seat and looked in Midoriya's direction, who, surprisingly, was in his world. He was thinking about how he had made himself look like a fool. As he was deep in thought, the girl stared at him for a little bit, so she went to tap him on the shoulder. Midoriya, yelp, he screamed while straightening his back. He looked around and saw other students looking at him with mixed reactions. Most of them had deadpan reactions, but some of the other students laughed at this. Mostly, girls were giggling at this, and certain ones thought it was cute. You can guess who. Midoriya got embarrassed by this, and he sank to his seat. That's when he heard a giggle from the girl on the left of him. Giggle, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Ribbit, she whispers with a calm voice towards Midoriya. This made Midoriya a little nervous because he had never had much luck talking to people, especially girls. So he decided to make a joke. Midoriya, scare me. That's a laugh. Ha, hear that? That was a laugh. He jokingly whispers, trying to make the girl laugh. But he was met with silence. Midoriya turned his head slowly to the front while smiling awkwardly, then slammed his head on the desk so hard that the other students were startled. Midoriya, I can't believe I did that. He thought, as if he had made a fool of himself again, now in front of a pretty girl. Wait, what am I thinking? The girl giggled at his antics, which made Midoriya flinch as he lifted his head to look at her. The girl was looking at him with one of the fingers of her left hand tipping her mouth. Her face was blank, but she was slightly smiling at him. That wasn't great, but at least it was an attempt, she whispers to him with a cute smile, trying to make him feel better. Midoriya, oh, thank you. He whispers to the girl, thanking her for the compliment. You're welcome. You seem to like Present Mike a lot. Why don't you ask him for his autograph after the exam? I'm sure he won't mind. I bet he would be happy to have a fan interested in him. Ribbit, she whispers with a calm voice towards Midoriya. Midoriya's eyes quickly darted to Present Mike, who was busy trying to find the remote to start the presentation. He then looked at the girl again, who was still looking at him, her black eyes looking at him calmly and with a bit of curiosity. Midoriya then swallowed the lump in his throat and needed to say something to make his situation less awkward. Midoriya, why yes, he's so cool. While he does hero work, he can use his Q quirk to both fight and also warn civilians of immediate dangers, thus saving a lot of lives in the process. I enjoy his radio shows. He explained nervously as he fiddled with his fingers while slightly giving the frog girl a small smile. However, Izuku didn't realize that the guy in front of him, the frog girl, and a couple of other examinees from the row behind them were listening to the conversation. They mostly listened to distract themselves and found Izuku's discussion of heroes interesting. Ribbit, same here. I listen to his radio shows once a week with my siblings. They always enjoy his shows when we're together. Ribbit, the girl says as she tilts her head to the side, causing the boy to blush a bit more, realizing that he was having a friendly conversation with the cute frog girl for the second time today. The girl then seemed to think about something to the boy. She spoke again, her face still blank but calm toward him. Oh shoot, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is 𝐶𝐮𝐬𝐴𝐵. Ribbit, what's your name, cutie? The girl, now Tsuyu, introduced herself to Midoriya, which surprised him. Midoriya, oh well. My name is Izuku Midoriya. It's nice to meet you, _. He was about to say her full name until she touched his mouth before she said something that shocked him. Tsuyu, I know we just met, Midoriya, but can you call me by my nickname, please? She said to Midoriya, and he complied. Midoriya, oh, okay. So, what do you want me to call you? He asked Tsuyu. She slowly leaned forward toward his face and gave him her answer. Tsuyu, I want you to call me Tsu. Tsuyu or Tsu gave Izuku his answer. Midoriya, Okay. One time, Present Mike saved 10 bystanders from a glass rain caused by a villain with a scream. The villain dodged the glass shards launched toward him and hit a wall. They need to put a smile on your face, just like All Might, I can say at least. He continued as he looked ahead, raising one of his hands and looking at it. The fact that 𝐬𝐮 looked at him gave a calm and collected aura that greatly helped. 𝐬𝐮, wow, that's a very nice thought, Midoriya. I agree with you, which is why we're here. Since you look motivated to take the exam, you no longer need to be nervous. Ribbit, 𝐬𝐮 says with a small smile, which makes him smile. While the two were having a moment, they didn't realize that a few other examinees were listening in on the conversation and were impressed by Izuku's confidence. Whistle, wow man, that's deep. I never looked at it that way. The boy behind Izuku says as he stretches a bit off his chair. Midoriya, huh, he muttered in shock as he looked behind him. He saw the boy behind him listening, as did a few other examinees. Ah, come on Greenie. Why'd you stop? I want to hear more fun facts and anecdotes. Come on, I like how you talk about them. It just makes you cute, a girl said behind Midoriya, sitting next to the boy who called out to him. While Midoriya struggled to think of a sentence to respond to the other examinees, 𝐬𝐮 continued to smile back at him as she put her finger on her lips again, still wanting to talk more. 𝐬𝐮, ribbit, I agree. Hey, have you heard of a hero named 𝐶𝐿𝐾, Midoriya? After a couple of seconds of staring at 𝐬𝐮 with wide eyes and an agape mouth, his mind finally started working again, and he tried to find the words to speak again. That's when he found the words to respond to 𝐬𝐮. Midoriya, yes, I have heard of her. 𝐬𝐮. As he was about to say his answer to 𝐬𝐮, it was suddenly interrupted by Present Mike as he finally found the remote. Present Mike, phew, finally found the little troublemaker. Ahem, anyway, I'm moving on to the presentation. First, let's talk about how the practical exam will go down. Are you ready, boys and girls? Present Mike asked his audience again, but was completely silent. Midoriya looked at 𝐬𝐮 and the other examinees and told them he apologized for not finishing the conversation. Midoriya, sorry, we couldn't finish our conversation, guys, including you, 𝐬𝐮, he said to the other examinees. 𝐬𝐮, ribbit, don't worry about it, Midoriya. We'll finish our conversation once the exam is over, she says with a smile. The other examinees gave their comments as well. Ah, and here I thought things would get interesting. Yeah, I was getting interested in what the guy had to say. His manly words were hyping me up. Greenie's knowledge of heroes interested me. The other examinees said that, before Present Mike interrupted the group once again. Present Mike, okay. Now, as your application said, today, you rocking boys and girls will be in a 10-minute mock battle in a simulated suburban city. After I drop the mic here, you'll be escorted to your specified battle centers. Everything good? Present Mike said as Midoriya, 𝐬𝐮, and Bakugo looked at their examination cards. Midoriya and 𝐬𝐮 would be in Battle Center B, while Bakugo was at Battle Center A. Bakugo, I see. So they plan to split us up so we can't work together. He said this as he figured out the purpose of the locations. Midoriya looked at a card, which the ash blonde noticed. Woot your DMN eyes off my ID card, you shitty nerd. Bakugo growled as Izuku instinctively flinched back. 𝐬𝐮, hey, leave him alone. I'm sure Midoriya's curious about which battle center they put you in. 𝐬𝐮 said to Bakugo with a slightly angry face as her eyes narrowed toward the ash blonde. Bakugo, watch ya say Frog Beach. You wanna fight me? He shouted at 𝐬𝐮, which caught the eyes of the examinees around him, Midoriya and 𝐬𝐮. It also caught the attention of Present Mike. Present Mike warned the kids, especially Bakugo, to stop arguing, or they'd have to leave. After they quieted down, he explained the exam rules, emphasizing the importance of choosing targets wisely and not attacking other examinees. He illustrated his points with dramatic gestures and a video game display. However, as the hero explained, a boy with dark blue hair and rectangular glasses raised his hand. Excuse me, sir, but I have a question. The tall young man asked stiffly. Present Mike, hit me, young listener. Present Mike says with a grin as a spotlight appears on the tall boy, who doesn't seem to mind as he raises his pamphlet. On the printout, you've listed 4 types of robots. Not 3. With all due respect, it is shameful if this is an error in official 𝐬𝐿 materials. We're all here today hoping to be molded into model pro heroes. We expect the best from Japan's most notable school. A mistake such as this won't do. The boy says with a slight frown, indicating his printout with one finger. But surprisingly, he didn't stop there. He then turned around, facing the trio. Moreover, what's with you? Yeah, you curly-haired kid. He said, pointing to Midoriya, who was shocked by this. Are you even paying attention? If you can't take this seriously, he was cut off when Midoriya decided to make a fake snore. Midoriya, fake snores for a bit, then wakes up. Sorry, did you say something? He said jokingly in a bored tone, making the tall guy face fault comically. The green-haired boy's reaction made most of the examinees snicker, most notably 𝐬𝐿, the red-haired guy, the pink-skinned girl, the bob-haired girl, a guy with purple ball, and, surprisingly, 𝐵𝐿𝐴, who was trying not to laugh at Midoriya's joke, but failed to do so. Even President Mike was laughing. 𝐵𝐿𝐴, Deku or not, that was funny, he thought while covering his mouth, trying not to laugh. WhatIf, weren't you listening? He said, blushing in embarrassment. Midoriya, how can I when you're moving like a robot? He jokingly asked, making the examinees snicker again. Are you even taking this seriously? He said, a little irritated. Midoriya, relax, I'm only kidding. I was. But then you started interrupting Present Mike. Who is going to be the next tie? He jokingly asked, interrupting him. He says, looking at Present Mike, who nods and continues. So please, sit down and keep quiet, you're distracting everyone, he finishes and sits back down while Present Mike continues. Present Mike, thank you, young listener. I'll give you credit for that joke, which was funny. He said, thanking Midoriya. Midoriya smiled at this action, and the 2 students, including 𝐬𝐿, were also happy about this. 𝐵𝐿𝐴, on the other hand, was more mad because of this. Present Mike explained that the 4th robot was just an obstacle, if anything. He also explained that each exam number differed for everyone, and they'll be in various sectors. At the battlegrounds after the stadium, the examinees were sent to their sectors. Midoriya was sent to Sector, where he learned that 𝐵𝐿𝐴 was going to Sector B. He was glad for that part. While waiting for the second part of the exam, he wouldn't lie about getting more nervous. He also hoped that 𝐬𝐿 and those 3 people he met today would pass. As Midoriya was waiting, he looked around at the other examinees, and one caught his attention. It was the girl he had saved from falling earlier. He also saw that she was nervous, so he decided to cheer her up. As he was walking towards the girl, he was stopped by the guy from the stadium. What do you think you're doing? He said with his hand on his shoulder. Are you trying to distract that girl? The other examinees watched this, and their reactions were mixed. Most were disgusted by what they heard. Midoriya quickly responded to what was happening. Midoriya pushes his hand away. Hold on a minute. I was trying to comfort her because she's nervous. He said, a little irritated at the guy with glasses. Before the tall guy could say anything more, Midoriya walked away and approached the brunette girl. Midoriya, hey, are you okay? He said calmly, putting his hand on her shoulder, which spooked the girl a bit. Oh, it's you, she said, calming down from recognizing him. Why, yeah, I'm fine. But I won't lie when I say I'm a little nervous. Midoriya, it's okay to be nervous. I'm nervous as well, but we should give it our all. We won't know if we'll make it to you if we don't try. It's okay to be afraid, but never let fear get in your way. He said to the girl, trying to calm her down. But Midoriya didn't know the other students were listening to his conversation with the girl. The ones who were listening were motivated by what he was saying. Even the girl was encouraged by what Midoriya was saying. Thank you. I feel better now and motivated, she said, cheering on herself, motivated by Midoriya's little speech. Midoriya, well, I'm glad I was able to help. Right? I don't think I got your name, he said to the girl as he looked to the side with his hand behind his head in embarrassment. "Oh right, I never gave you my name," she shouted in realization that she'd never given him her name. As I was trying to say before we were interrupted, the intercom interrupted her again, saying the second part of the exam was about to begin. Midoriya was about to say something to the brunette, but he saw the gates were opening. He instantly charged up his quirk and quickly bolted to the gate. The examinees were shocked by this action, and some said that he was cheating. But Present Mike noted that in real-life battles, there are no countdowns. So, all the examinees rushed in to destroy the robots. But as they ran in, they saw that Midoriya had already killed some robots, so they all quickly split up to find more robots. Speaking of Midoriya, he was using 10% of his quirk and quickly destroying robots from left to right. As he finished the robot, he saw a robot coming towards a girl, but she didn't even notice it. So he swooped her out of the way and punched the robot, destroying it. Midoriya, "Hey, are you okay, Mississippi?" he asked the girl he had just saved as he walked towards her. As Midoriya looked at the girl, he couldn't see anything, just clothes. He quickly realized that this was her quirk. "Why, I'm okay." "Thank you," she says to Midoriya, thanking him for saving her. She then realized she was still invisible. "Oh, sorry, I guess my quirk is still on." Here. Then Midoriya saw the girl turn off her quirk and become visible. Midoriya could get a good look at her face as she became fully visible. She had long, messy, wavy chartreuse hair with pink specks, bushy eyelashes, thin eyebrows, and big, round eyes with teal on the outside and yellow on the inside irises. Author: I decided that 𝐻𝐿 will have the ability to turn visible and invisible at will. As Midoriya looked at her, he thought the girl looked cute, but quickly shook it off so she wouldn't think of him as a creep. "Midoriya, wow," he quietly said, as the girl could hear what he was saying and gave him a questioning look. "Oh, sorry, it's just that. How cute you look, it surprised me." The girl quickly blushed at his comment, and Midoriya didn't realize what he said out loud. "Midoriya, anyway, be more careful so this doesn't happen again. I hope you pass." "Well, I'll see you later. Bye," he quickly said as he ran off, leaving the girl red on her face. The girl then thought of how he had said how cute she was, and she honestly liked it. Midoriya ran, wondering why the girl's face was red, thinking she wasn't feeling well. But then I saw more robots and quickly went up to them. At the staff room, the staff at watched all the candidates, and they were impressed. Some of the candidates were more impressive than others. "The candidates here are most impressive," said a dog-mouse-bear-looking thing. "What do you think, Midnight?" "Midnight, I'll say. Some of this year's candidates are quite impressive," the R-rated hero said while looking at some of the candidates. In an interesting way. Present Mike turned to Midnight. "Hey, easy with that look, Nemuri," he said to Midnight. Then he turned back to the screen. "But yeah, these youngins are going plus ultra. Right, Nizu?" "Nizu, indeed, Present Mike," he said as he noticed that All Might and a hobo-looking man had their attention on one candidate. "Did someone catch your attention, Izawa?" "Izawa, yeah. It's that boy with messy green hair," he said, pointing at the screen with Midoriya. "Who is this candidate?" As Izawa said this, the screen got big and showed Midoriya destroying 2 robots and saving the other candidates. Nizu looked through the files and found his file. Nizu, his name is Izuku Midoriya, and his quirk is called Superpower. Author: I know real creative, he said as he went through his file. Only to see there wasn't much about him. There's not much about him. The staff members were confused by this. So All Might said he'd get Detective Tsukachi to learn more about Midoriya. After that, Nizu thought it was time to bring out the big guy as he pressed a button. Back at the battlegrounds, Midoriya destroyed another robot, wiping sweat off his forehead with his right arm while out of breath. Midoriya, okay, think that should be enough points to pass, he said as he caught his breath. As he was about to walk away, he felt a rumble. He and all the other candidates turned to see the source of the rumble. What shocked everyone was that they saw that the zero-pointer robot was giant. Most students got scared of this and ran away from the zero-pointer. Midoriya just stood there staring at it, but he didn't notice that the tall boy and the girl who could turn invisible ran past him, looking at him. As he was about to turn around, he heard a cry in pain. Midoriya turned back and saw the brunette girl trapped under rubble. In an instant, he dashed to the girl with his quirk, shocking the examinees and the staff as he did this. Midoriya asked the girl, "Hey, are you okay?" as he removed the rubble from her leg. "Yeah, wait, what are you doing here?" She quickly told him as he removed the rubble. "Go save yourself. Don't worry about me." Midoriya, No, I won't." He quickly responded to her as he gave his all to the last huge piece of rubble stuck on her leg. "I won't run away from someone who needs help because that's not what heroes do." Midoriya yelled with all his might, lifting the rubble with 35% of his quirk and then throwing it away. Everyone was amazed by this, but the brunette was the most amazed by this. He turned to the girl as he picked her up bride style, then ran to the other contestants. As he put her down, he rushed back to the 0-pointer. Then he jumped towards the 0-pointer, charging up his quirk with his right arm pulled back up. He yelled, "Smash," and punched the 0-pointer with 100% of his quirk, destroying it. This surprised everyone, including the other contestants and even the staff members. As Midoriya landed superhero style, he saw his right arm swollen but not broken. It still hurt like hell. Then he was walking towards the brunette, and as he was walking, he heard the announcement that the second part of the exam was over. This didn't bother Midoriya, but he only cared about the girl's well-being. "Midoriya, hey, are you okay?" he asked the girl as he bent down to her level. "I'm fine. Just my leg is hurt." She said this while her leg was in pain. She then saw his arm and became worried. "Oh my gosh, your arm." Midoriya, "Oh, well, this happens if I use my quirk to its fullest," he explained to the girl. The students stared at Midoriya. The tall boy and the girl who can turn invisible were the most shocked that someone like Midoriya had that kind of power. Then they see an old lady walking towards Midoriya and the brunette. He recognized the lady as Recovery Girl. "Recovery Girl, okay, let's see who is injured," she says as she walks towards the two students. "Midoriya, we are, but can you help her first please?" he said as he was close enough. She first went to heal Midoriya by kissing his cheek. This shocked everyone that this was happening, but Midoriya's arm was then healed. "Recovery Girl, please be careful next time," she quietly told Midoriya just before he was about to leave. "Midoriya, I will," he quietly said to Recovery Girl as he walked away from the crowd. Back at the staff room, the staff, especially Izuku and All Might, were impressed with Midoriya's actions and performance. "Izuku, Nizu, I want Izuku Midoriya in my class," he said to Nizu quickly, which surprised everyone in the room. "Nizu, request granted Izuku," he said to Izuku, smiling at him. Later after the exam ended, Midoriya walked back to the orphanage. He was thinking about how he did on the exam and whether he passed. As he was walking, he heard 3 voices behind him. He turned and saw 𝐬𝐮 and the two he was from the stadium. "𝐬𝐮, hey Midoriya," she said as she caught up to him with 2 others. Midoriya, "Oh hey 𝐬𝐮. And it's you guys as well," he said as he saw the other 2 people he had met at the stadium. "Yeah. Midoriya, right? Izuku Midoriya. The person with black spiky and sharp teeth. Midoriya, that's right." He told the guy who realized the problem. "Oh right, sorry about that. I'm 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫," he said, introducing himself. Then, the pink-skinned girl introduced herself. "Hey there, cute greenie. My name is Mina Ishido," she said to Midoriya cheerfully. Midoriya was about to say something when someone tapped him on the shoulder. He turned around to see the girl who could turn invisible. "Hello again," she said to Midoriya with a cute smile. Midoriya, "Oh hey, it's you again." He said this to the girl, who seemed a bit surprised. Ishido, "Hey, you're that girl who can turn invisible, right?" she said, asking the girl for her quirk. "That's right. And I heard your names too. Looks at Kirishima, you're 𝐻𝐼jiro Looks at Ishido, you're Mina Ishido. Turns to Midoriya, and your name is Izuku Midoriya, right?" She asked them all except 𝐬𝐮. "Midoriya, Kirishima, Ishido, right?" They said in unison. "𝐬𝐮, my name is Tsuyu Azui, But please call me Tsu, she said to the girl, letting her know her name. Nice to meet you, Tsu. I'm 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗘, she said while telling everyone else her name. Midoriya, well then, it's nice to meet you, Tsu, Kirishima, Ishido, and Hagakure. He shook their hands. Tsu, Kirishima, Ishido, and Hagakure said at the same time, nice to meet you too, bro/cutie/Midoriya/handsome. Midoriya was shocked to hear what they called him, especially Ishido and Hagakure, who called him. Then Hagakure spoke. Hagakure, by the way, I wanted to say thank you, she said to Midoriya as he was confused by this. She clarifies with him about earlier while blushing. For what you said earlier. Midoriya then knew what she was talking about. She was glad she said that to him. She did not think much of it, but to Hagakure, she thought it was the nicest thing anyone had said to her. She was about to hug him when another voice came. They turned to see the brunette running towards them. Hey! Hey you! She yelled, trying to catch up to Midoriya, who was shocked by this. Midoriya, hey, it's you again, he said, seeing the girl again. Kirishima, hey Midoriya, do you know her? He asked her, to which he nodded his answer. Glad I caught up to you. Let's get the introductions out of the way before we're interrupted again. I'm Izuku Midoriya, she said, introducing herself to Midoriya. Midoriya, Midoriya. Well, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Points to Tsu, this is Tsuyu Ajui. Please call me Tsu. Points to Kirishima, this is Ijiro Kirishima. Nice to meet you. Points to Ishido, this is Mina Ishido. Higer. Points to Hagakure, and this is Toru Hagakure. Hey ya, he said, introducing everyone to Midoriya. Then offered her a handshake, which she took. Well, with that out of the way, it's nice to meet you, Midoriya. Midoriya, nice to meet you too, Midoriya. And you guys as well, she said to him and the other four, shaking hands with Midoriya. Tsu, Kirishima, Ishido, Hagakure. Likewise, they said simultaneously to Midoriya. Then they all decided to hang out a bit, to which Midoriya's surprise. It was his first hangout. With friends. He was happy that he had finally found some friends. They decided to go to the mall. At the mall, the gang made it to the mall, and Midoriya told them he had never been there, mainly because he spent time studying and caring for the children at the orphanage. So they decided to show him around the mall. They have been checking out the store, and the girls have decided to check out a clothes store. As they went to look around the store, the girls had an idea that would be sneaky. They wanted Midoriya to try out the clothes they picked out. When Midoriya was told this, he thought it would be a cool idea. But if he only knew the truth. Author, I'll let your imaginations run wild when choosing Midoriya's clothes. As Midoriya tried on the clothes that the girls gave him. For the most part, it was going well for him in the choices of clothes from Midoriya, Tsu, Kirishima, and Hagakure, but when it got to Ishido, let's say the choices were very questionable. Mostly they were embarrassing for him, so he just wore swim trunks. The girls thought it meant that Ishido was doing this, but when it came to the swim trunks, they blushed and stared at Midoriya's body to the point that they almost had a nosebleed. That's the one thing they'd thanked Ishido for. Kirishima felt sorry for Midoriya. Then Hagakure made Midoriya try something out, a cat costume power-up from Super Mario. He was about to tell Hagakure that this was a costume, but when he looked at the girls, they all thought he looked so adorable that they hugged him. Midoriya was blushing red in embarrassment that four girls were hugging him while Kirishima was holding his laughter, and he secretly took a pic of the situation. After that, they decided to go to the arcade. As they played some games together, they were surprised that Midoriya beat them at every game. He was able to win some fantastic prizes, which he gave to his newfound friends. Kirishima was thankful for the gift from Midoriya, but for the girls, they were all blushing madly while having little hearts in their eyes because they had received gifts from him. Midoriya gave Kirishima a pair of limited edition boxing gloves of a pro hero of 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. Kirishima told Midoriya that 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 was his favorite hero and that he had been trying to get these boxing gloves for a long time, mainly because they were scarce. Midoriya gave the girls each a squishmallow. For Midoriya, it was a mochi dressed as the pro hero 13. For Tsu, it was a frog dressed as the pro hero 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. For Ishido, It was an alien from the movie Toy Story. For 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, it was 𝐿eonari, the rainbow lion. The girls saw them as children that Midoriya had given them, and they were going to protect them at all times. The group decided to grab a bite to eat. When their food arrived, they began to dig in. As they enjoyed their meal, they started to share more about themselves. Soon, the conversation shifted to Midoriya, as the girls were particularly interested in learning more about him. Initially, he was hesitant, but eventually he opened up and shared his story. Midoriya shared details about himself, including his likes, activities, and hobbies. He mentioned that he helps at the orphanage but didn't reveal that he is an orphan himself. Instead, he made it sound like he volunteers there. They were impressed with what Midoriya told them. The girls were interested in what they learned from Midoriya and got more interested in him by the minute. He even told them about his hero analysis. They wanted to see it. So he pulled out his notebook. They'd scanned through it. It was safe to say that they were impressed with what Midoriya had written down. This surprised Midoriya, as they were not weirded out. Then 𝐻𝐿 had an idea. 𝐻𝐿, "Hey Midoriya, can we see your phone?" she asked him with a smile. Midoriya, "Oh okay, sure," he said as he got his phone and gave it to 𝐻𝐿. What Midoriya now realized was that they were giving him their numbers. The girls mostly gave Midoriya their numbers. As the girls finished, Kirishima was about to ask for Midoriya's phone, but then they gave Midoriya his phone back. When Midoriya got his phone back, he saw that he had a girl's number, but then realized it was 5 girls' numbers. He was surprised by this as he stared at them for a bit, then was snapped out of it when Kirishima tapped his shoulder. He gave Midoriya his number and then went back to eating their food. Later the 5 became Midoriya's friends, which he thought he'd never get. The gang went their separate ways because it was getting late. They said they should keep in touch to hang out more, and hoped they would all be accepted to the 𝐻𝐿. When Midoriya returned to the orphanage, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Sakura were angry and asked him questions like, "Where were you?" or "What took so long?" etc. Midoriya remembered today and how he spent it with his new or first friends, while checking on the kids. Then a smile grew on his face and he answered, Midoriya, smiling, "I guess. I was hanging out with my friends and having fun," he answered, still smiling, not caring about what they were saying. This shocked them both, as they didn't say anything when Midoriya went to take care of the kids. After the kids went to bed, Midoriya went to his room in the attic. He did his bathroom business and lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling for a while. He then looked at his phone to see text messages from his friends. They were talking about the hangout and having a great time together. Midoriya stared at the messages and then texted his friends his thoughts about today. In a while he texted his friends, "Good night," back. Midoriya went to bed, drifting to sleep with a smile, thinking his life had turned around. The first day Midoriya was getting ready for his first day at 𝐻𝐿. As he was getting prepared, he finished making breakfast for the kids and the 2 lovebirds. The same thing happened, like the breakfast situation of who eats and who doesn't, but Midoriya secretly made the kids breakfast. After all that, Midoriya told the kids what to do while he was gone, which was to hide from 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Sakura. As Midoriya was heading to 𝐻𝐿, he pulled out his phone to see the group chat and saw all the messages from Kirishima, 𝐻𝐿, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, and Uraraka. They'd hang out more often than ever since the entrance exam. With Kirishima, they became best friends and could do many things together, but they mostly went to the gym. They'd even helped each other train for 𝐻𝐿. As for the girls, Midoriya mostly hung out with them sometimes as a group or just with the 2 of them. The girls could know a bit more about them, and they became more interested in him to the point that they all admit they have a crush on him. 𝐻𝐿 and 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 had tried to make a move on Midoriya and even flirted with him, but of course, he didn't notice cause he was innocent. He's also in a group chat where it's just him and the girls. Midoriya was glad he had finally made friends, which made him even more excited to go to 𝐻𝐿. Now, he had people waiting for him, so he was excited to go to school for the first time. At 𝐻𝐿, Midoriya made it to 𝐻𝐿 and walked through the hallways, trying to find his classroom. But for a while he was lost and someone approached him as he was walking. Hey, what are you doing? Are you okay? Are you lost? Asked a girl in front of him as she was asking him many questions. When Midoriya got a good look at her, she saw a girl who looked a little older than him. She was of average height, with a fair complexion and feminine build. She had long, periwinkle hair that reached her knees and blue eyes. She also had a smile on her face. Midoriya was staring at her for a bit while having a thought in his head. Midoriya, oh, she's pretty, he thought in his head. But he didn't know that he said loud enough for the girl to hear him. This caught the girl off guard, so she blushed at that. As she was about to say something, someone else interrupted them. Hey 𝐻𝐻𝐽𝐻. There you are. Tamaki and I were looking for you. Who is this? Says a guy walking towards the girl named 𝐻𝐻𝐽𝐻, followed by another guy some distance away. Why you're? And not be bothering him. There why you? 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘. Asked the guy behind the other guy, who looked very timid. Midoriya then guessed the girl's full name was 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. As he turned to the other two, the first guy had a tall, built body, blonde hair, blue eyes, a smile, and an outstanding personality. For the other guy, he was a tall young man with rather pale skin. His ears are longer than most, their tips pointy and somewhat elf-like. But for the most part, he comes off as very shy, aloof, depressed, intimidating, and introverted. He must not like to have an audience. Midoriya, I guess he's not much of a talker. And I thought I had terrible anxiety. He thought as he stared at the shy guy. The shy guy saw this and quickly turned around, not liking people staring at him. The blonde guy saw this and said to him, Come on, Tamaki, don't let nervousness always get to you. Tamaki, 𝐴𝐵 want to go home. He said to the blonde guy named Mirio as he was timid. Mirio laughed for a bit, then turned to Midoriya, who was staring at them, thinking they were interesting. Mirio, anyway, you must be a freshman here. We're third-year students. Allow me to introduce myself. Puts his right hand on his chest. My name is Mirio Togata. Points to Tamaki. This shy guy is Tamaki Amajiki. Points to 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃 and this one you met is. He was saying, introducing themselves as he was interrupted by the girl. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, I'm 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. It's nice to meet you, cutie, she said to Midoriya, looking close to his face. Midoriya didn't think too much of it and thought she was friendly. This caused Mirio and Tamaki to be off guard by what 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃 had just said and the fact that Midoriya was not weirded out by her antics. This reminded Midoriya of the types of kids he cared for who acted like this. Midoriya, it is nice to meet you, Togata, Amajiki, and 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. I'm Izuku Midoriya and I'm lost. So, can you help me find where class 1A is? He introduced himself to them while asking them where his class is. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, oh, I can take you to your class, she blurted as she dragged Midoriya away from his class, leaving Mirio and Tamaki behind, confused about what just happened. As 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃 was taking Midoriya to his class, she asked him many questions which, to her surprise, he answered. This made 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃 want to know more about him and develop feelings for Midoriya. She had never had much luck with her love life, and most guys thought she was weird or only wanted her for her body. But to Midoriya, it was like love at first sight. They made it to class 1A, as Midoriya was getting nervous and shocked by the size of the door. He turned to 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. Midoriya, thank you for helping me find the way, Miss 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. He smiled and said this to 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, you're welcome, Midoriya, but please call me 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, please, she said, smiling at Midoriya with red cheeks from blushing with her hands behind her. Midoriya, okay, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. Well, I need to head to class now, they might have started without me, he said as he prepared to enter his classroom. I'll see you around, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, wait, Midoriya, she quickly said before he went to his classroom. Then she pulled out her phone and asked him, can I see your phone please? Midoriya gave her his phone, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃 put her number in it, and then he started to walk away. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃, I'll see you later, cutie. She looks back at Midoriya and winks at him before walking back to Mirio and Tamaki with a cute smile and tinted red blush. Midoriya looked at his phone and saw 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝗃's number in his contacts. He was happy to think he had made 3 new friends. Then, Midoriya put his phone away and opened the door to his classroom. Midoriya, I hope that Bakugo and that guy with glasses are not in the same classroom as me, he thought as he opened the door and walked into his classroom to see that his prayers weren't answered. God f damn it. Get your feet off the table, the school has worked hard for it, said the guy with glasses, arguing with 𝐒𝐮𝐴, who had his feet on his desk. 𝐒𝐮𝐴, did someone stick a foot up your butt? He angrily said to the guy with glasses, who was shocked to hear this from him. How dare you make such violent slurs at your classmates? The guy with glasses said to 𝐒𝐮𝐴, not liking his attitude. 𝐒𝐮𝐴, where the hell did you go to be this damn annoying? He angrily asks the boy with glasses, wondering why he's a stick-up. I'm from semi-private academy, he said to 𝐒𝐮𝐴, answering his question. 𝐒𝐮𝐴, oh, a stuck-up elitist. I'll be glad to kick your butt, he said snarkily to the boy with glasses in an attempt to take him down. Do you even want to become a hero? He said to 𝐒𝐮𝐴, even more shocked by what he said. Then, he composed himself to introduce himself to 𝐒𝐮𝐴. All right, let's start over. My name is 𝐻𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐴, and you are? 𝐒𝐮𝐴, huh? Why the hell should I dash? He was saying to Ida before stopping and noticing a familiar green messy hair at the front door. Ida noticed his gesture and then looked in the same direction as 𝐒𝐮𝐴. He saw the green messy-haired contestant from the entrance exam. Midoriya, and they both saw me. Great, just my luck, he thought, then noticed Ida approaching him. Ida, hello, I'm 𝐻𝐻𝐴, he said to Midoriya before stopping him midway. Midoriya, why yeah, I know your name. I heard you saying it earlier, he said, chuckling with a hand behind his head, while a sweet drop, then he saw Ida bowing down to him. Midoriya, what are you doing? He asked Ida while he raised his eyebrow. Ida, I must apologize for my rudeness back at the exams. He brought himself up. I realized that you were trying to figure out what President Mike said, and you understand the terms of the exam. I saw you saving those two girls back there. I realized you must consider every hero exam a real-life experience. So please forgive me. You're superior to me. He finished. Midoriya didn't know what to say. This was the first time someone had apologized to him. Midoriya, oh, yeah, I don't think I'm superior. I'm just doing what heroes do. But don't worry, it's fine. Let's start over. I'm Izuku Midoriya, and I hope we can be friends, he said to Ida, smiling and sticking his hand out. Ida, I would like that, Midoriya, he said to Midoriya, chuckling and shaking his hand. Hey, Midoriya. Midoriya heard a voice behind him. He turned to see 𝐬𝐶, his classmate, at the door. Midoriya, oh hey Azui. You're in class 1A2, he said, smiling to know that 𝐬𝐶 was his classmate. 𝐬𝐶, I told you to call me 𝐬𝐶, she corrected Midoriya, pouting cutely. But she learned that he was terrible at names, especially with nicknames. Midoriya, alright, sorry. But still, he was saying to 𝐬𝐶, but got interrupted by two hugs that squeezed him so that he felt something like marshmallows on his arms. He looked on both sides to see Ishido and Hagakure hugging him. Ishido and Hagakure, hey cutie, / hey handsome. They both said this to Midoriya, shocking the students who were nearby and hearing them, but Midoriya didn't think too much of it. Midoriya, oh hey Ishido. Hey Hagakure. You're both in class A2. He said to the two girls, happy to see them as well, with every student besides a few thinking, is this guy seriously this dense? Both girls let go of Midoriya, and 𝐬𝐶 felt a bit jealous. Ida was shocked by this, but not as shocked as 𝐒𝐮𝐴 was. Hagakure, I'm so glad that you made it to the hero course, she said to Midoriya, smiling. Then she frowned a bit. But why didn't you tell us that you passed? Midoriya, oh, I guess I was so busy with stuff that I forgot to text it to you guys. He said this with his hand behind his head, scratching, mainly from the kids at the orphanage. Ishido, well, it's fine. Just remember to let us know next time, okay, cutie, she said, smiling at Midoriya. Hey Midoriya. You passed the exam too. Midoriya heard another voice behind him as Hagakure and Ishido were about to say something. He turned to see Uraraka behind 𝐬𝐶, who also turned around to see her. Ishido and Hagakure also see Uraraka in their class. Midoriya, 𝐬𝐶 / Ishido, Hagakure, oh, hey Uraraka, / Achiko, / hey girl, that, said to Uraraka, glad to see her as their classmate from class 1, Uraraka. So you did pass Midoriya just like what they said, she said to Midoriya, smiling cutely. She then got close to Midoriya's face, which made the three girls jealous. That makes sense because what you did in the second part of the exam was amazing. She started to mimic the punch Midoriya did at the exams. Tsu, Ishido, and Hagakure were getting more jealous because Uraraka was praising him while he was thanking her for doing so with a smile and a hand behind his head. The rest of the students in Class 1A started to talk about the contestant who took down the zero-pointer robot at the exams with just one punch. Then Kirishima was with two students, one with blonde hair with a lightning bolt and the other with black hair with weirdly shaped elbows, who confirmed that Midoriya was that contestant. Every student was shocked to see that someone who looked very plain could be that strong. This caught the attention of 6 students. The first was a tall female student with long black hair, sharp dark eyes, and short eyebrows. Her hair is usually tied into a spiky ponytail with a strand hanging on her face. The second student was a medium-height girl with a slim build, lazy-looking black eyes with small pupils, and short, dark purple hair with an asymmetrical fringe and 2 chin-length bangs on either side. One of her most notable features is her earphone jacks hanging off each of her ears due to her quirk. The third student was a young woman of average height. She had straight, light brown hair just below her shoulders and large, dark brown eyes. Her lips were noticeably plump and glossy, and her figure was curvaceous. The fourth was another female student with bright blue eyes, ash blonde wavy hair styled in bushy pigtails, and parted side bangs on the right side of her face. The fifth was a male student with unique hair, split between white on his right side and red on his left, reflecting his dual quirk. He has a noticeable scar over his left eye. His build is tall and solid, typical of a hero in training. The sixth student was Bakugo, of course, because he didn't believe that it was true. Midoriya probably cheated his way into the exam, not knowing that he had been training his quirk and getting super intense. The other students didn't take the green-haired kid too seriously because they thought the rumor was probably exaggerated and believed that he did something that was not a big deal. However, one student was looking at him, believing that he was someone she knew before but couldn't remember. If you're here to make friends, then I suggest you leave now. Midoriya, his friends, and the other students hear as they see a caterpillar-looking hobo man on the floor at the entrance. What is that thing? Was what every student was thinking at the same time as the hobo-looking man stood up, got out of his sleeping bag, and then looked at all the students. It took you all 8 minutes to shut up. That's not good, time is of the essence. Anyway, I'm your homeroom teacher for the next 4 years. I'm 𝐀𝐮𝐬𝐴, he said in a monotone to his students, with every student questioning themselves about their teacher. Then he pulled something from his sleeping bag that looked like a uniform. Put these on and meet me at the grounds. At the grounds, the students got changed and headed outside to meet Mr. Izawa at the grounds. They found out they're doing a quirk test, and some got nervous because it was a test. Mr. Izawa explained how these tests are going to showcase their potential. Uraraka raised her hand and asked Mr. Izawa, excuse me, but won't we miss the orientation? Izawa, we won't be wasting time on those little things, he said to Uraraka in a tired voice. Then he looked over to Bakugo. Bakugo, what was your ball throw average back in high school? Bakugo, 15 meters, I think. He responded as Mr. Izawa threw a ball toward him. Izawa, now try throwing it with your quirk, he said as Bakugo walked over to the big circle on the floor and put his arm back. Bakugo, die! He shouted as the explosion ball flew high in the air, leaving a cloud of dust. Midoriya, die! Seriously! He thought as everyone else was amazed by the sheer power Bakugo threw. As the ball landed, Mr. Izawa showed a score of 705. 2 meters. Kirishima, whoa! That's so manly. He said, pumped up by this. Man, I'm not good with throwing work, said a yellow-haired boy, frowning. Ishido, we get to use our quirks. This is going to be fun. She shouted excitedly. Izawa, fun you say? Do you think this is all fun? Is that all right? The student with the lowest score in the class will be expelled. He said this, leaving the students speechless and shocked. The students minus a few, including Midoriya, complained that he couldn't do this, but Mr. Izuku had something to say. Izuku, smirk, this is my class, I'll run it how I see fit, he said to the students with a smile that would creep out kids. He continued, oh, you don't know. So long as it's legal for the teachers here to have free range over how they run their classes. That includes who stays. Uraraka? But still, it's only our first day, that's not fair. She stated, frowning, hoping their homeroom teacher would change his mind. Oh, give me a break, said a student irritated by what was happening. Everyone turned to see a scowling ash blonde with wavy hair styled in bushy pigtails. The girl had bright blue eyes and a hair clip. It's not fair, grow up. Do you think national disasters are fair? What about homeless people and kids who are abused and neglected? What about bullies or perverts who get a pass? We're here to be heroes and be the best. If you can't handle this because it's not fair, then sorry to tell you, honey, life's not fair. Don't like it? Then go home. She said, not believing that the heroes in training were acting like this. Izuku, I might have found my favorite student. He thought that a female student named Takamaki was someone who knew that life wasn't fair, mainly from her mother. Then he looked back at the rest of the students. It's like Takamaki said, if you want to be pros, you'll have to earn it. Now let's get started. Meter dash. The first test was the 50-meter dash. When it was Midoriya's turn, he saw that his opponent was Bakugo, but he didn't let that bother him. When it was time to go, Bakugo blasted off with his explosive speed, thinking he had left Midoriya in the dusk. But in slow motion, Midoriya came right next to him, as if he had always been there, leaving a trail of blur behind him, leaving Bakugo in the dusk. Bakugo finished in 4:13 seconds, while Midoriya got 2:51 seconds. That left everyone stunned. Bakugo's eyes widened because he lost to Midoriya, of all people. He believed that he was supposed to be better than he was. Midoriya was a weakling to him, and he thought he was cheating. Then he started thinking crazy, like, did he even deserve to be here? How did Izuku beat him so badly? You name it. But Mr. Izuku was not pleased. Sure, 51 was something, but it was not everything. Not even close. Grip strength. The next test was grip strength. Midoriya knew this was raw power strength, even though he practiced with one for all, yet he didn't want to break school property, so he had to rely on 20% of his power. Midoriya grabbed the test strength and squeezed it. It beeped and weighed 900 kilograms. This left everyone in awe of his strength. Even a student with multiple arms gripping the machine was shocked, and Bakugo's eyes widened because he lost to Midoriya. Again, yeah, take that, you beach. It was better than the others, but Mr. Izuku could see he was still holding back. Standing long jump. The third test was the standing long jump. Midoriya just jumped high in the air and fell back down. His jump was so big that everyone thought he was already a pro. The 5 students now had second thoughts about judging a book by its cover. Mr. Izuku was getting irritated that he had not gone all out. Sidestepping. The fourth test was sidestepping. A boy with ball on his head almost won first place, but when Midoriya went, he beat him by a landslide. He was sidestepping so fast that it looked like 2 or 3 of him were there. Everyone was more impressed by the minute, but Mr. Izuku saw the truth. Ball throw. The fifth and last test was a ball throw. Midoriya was up and grabbed the ball. He placed his foot on the sand and threw it high, creating a giant shock wave and a big gust of wind. It was 705 meters, leaving everyone stunned, and Bakugo got angrier by the minute. Before Bakugo could lose his temper, Mr. Izuku shot his scarf at Midoriya, but he was able to react quickly and put his arm up as the scarf wrapped around his arm. Izuku was impressed by the boy's reaction time, but shook it off as soon as he walked up to him. Midoriya, whoa. That was close. Mr. Izuku, is this part of the test or what? He asked his teacher as he continued walking towards him. Izuku, no, it wasn't. Do you think I'm stupid? He asked as he stopped before Midoriya. Midoriya, excuse me. He said, questioning if he heard Mr. Izuku right. Izuku, "So why do you keep trying to act like you're giving it your all?" he said, shocking everyone dead. The only person who was most shocked was Bakugo. Midoriya didn't give it all the time, not even once, and everyone was shocked to learn that he was holding back. The students became horrified at the thought of what the test scores could have been if Midoriya had used his quirk. "Midoriya, what do you mean?" "I was dash," he was saying before getting interrupted when Mr. Aizawa squeezed his arm tighter and activated his quirk, which showed red glowing eyes with his hair and scarf floating. "Aizawa, you must think I'm stupid, huh? This is why I erased your quirk," he said, looking at him with his glowing red eyes. Then Midoriya noticed something under Mr. Aizawa's scarf. "Midoriya, wait a minute. Those eyes. Erased quirk. And those goggles," he said, looking at his teacher closely and then realizing who their teacher was. "I know who you are. I recognize those goggles. You're the erasure hero, erasure head." The students then started to discuss who Midoriya was talking about. "Kirishima, eraser head, who's that?" he questioned while looking at Tsu. "Tsu, isn't that the hero who can erase quirks, ribbit?" She questioned Kirishima with others. "And, who knows?" she said, not knowing who he was. "Midoriya, you hate making media appearances and say they interfere with your work. So that's why there isn't a lot of info about you," he says, as everyone, even Mr. Aizawa, is surprised that he knows a bit about him. "Aizawa, I'll admit that is a bit creepy, but at least you know your stuff," he thought as he looked at Midoriya. Then he spoke again. "Yeah, that's right, I turned off your quirk because I can tell that you're not giving it your all. You're holding back." Midoriya, "But Mr. Aizawa," he said before Mr. Aizawa cut him off. "Aizawa, no buts. You're going to go all out on this test, and if you hold back again, I'll expel you right on the spot. Got it?" he said, releasing his arm, and Midoriya walked back to the circle to do the ball throw again. The students were curious about what was going to happen now. Midoriya concentrated his quirk to its maximum, which is almost 50% of his quirk. This created intense wind pressure, and students were impressed with how much he held back. Even the 6 students, including Bakugo, were shocked that this was his full power. Midoriya readied himself to throw the ball, and as the ball was over his head, he channeled 100% of his quirk on his index finger. The moment he threw the ball, it created a massive wind pressure. The wind pushed the students' backs, with some struggling to stay up, and made the ground shake so that the whole school felt that rumble. At the orientation, every first-year student was present and felt a rumble, struggling to stay standing. They questioned even the teachers about what would happen if an earthquake happened. However, only 2 people knew who was causing this: Principal 𝐻𝐿 and the students. 𝐻𝐿 was delighted that he was able to answer everyone's questions. "𝐻𝐿, don't worry, everyone, it's not an earthquake," he answered with a big smile as they were confused about what he was talking about. He proudly replied, "It's a first-year student in Class 1A showing his full power." Everyone was beyond shocked that a first-year student had that kind of power. Then, Present Mike wobbled his way to 𝐻𝐿. "Present Mike, wait. This is a first year in Shota's class. Who is it?" he quickly asked as he tried not to fall. 𝐻𝐿 promptly answered his question with hope for the future. "𝐻𝐿, yes, as I said, it's a first-year student in Class 1A. His name is Izuku Midoriya." He shouted to everyone with enormous hope for this hero. This shocked everyone, including one student in Class 1B, Nito Monoma. Monoma, someone like him, is not only in Class 1A, but has this kind of power. He thought as he was getting irritated, believing he was showing off and that he got into Class 1A. This didn't get noticed by his classmates. This included 8 female students who became interested in Izuku Midoriya. On this day, every student knew their name. The name Izuku Midoriya will become well known throughout the superhuman world. Back at the U.E. grounds after everything had cooled down, every student looked back to where Midoriya was. As the dust cleared, Midoriya was holding his right wrist. They saw his index finger purple and shaking a bit. Mr. Aizawa was about to show his score, but Midoriya raised his left hand, still looking at the ground. Everyone was confused by this, but they heard something that sounded like a jet fighter. Everyone saw something on fire heading towards them, but as it was coming, Midoriya quickly jumped up and caught it with his right hand, then landed back to where he was superhero landing on that beach. Midoriya stood back up and looked at Mr. Izuku with the ball in his right hand, on fire. Midoriya, well, Mr. Izuku, how was that for going all out? He says, looking at him with determination. As the ball was still burning, Midoriya crushed it, putting the fire out and reducing it to ashes. Most didn't know All Might was hiding behind a wall and watching everything. He was shocked at what the boy could do and impressed that all the training he had put in had paid off. Author, to help you understand which All Might is talking about, talking or thinking like this is small All Might, and talking or thinking like this is buff All Might. All Might. Incredible, the power he displayed is no joke. It's almost like he can match up to my level in my heyday. Young Midoriya. When did you get so cool and looked so badass? Thought as he was amazed by the display Midoriya showed. Then he concluded, I guess my theory was right. Izuku Midoriya is the next wielder of that quirk. So you did give it to your son before dying. Old friend. Izuku, this kid. He said as he smiled. The students were shocked by what they witnessed, and the shared raw power he possessed as Mr. Izuku showed everyone the new score. Midoriya's latest score was 40,075,000 meters, that's the meters for around the world, which shocked everyone in the area, but for Bakugo, it was the last straw. Bakugo, that's it. He yelled as he charged at Midoriya, losing his temper. Deku, you bastard. Tell me, how did you do that, or you're dead? Midoriya saw Bakugo charging toward him. As he was about to prepare for the attack, Bakugo got wrapped up in Mr. Izuku's scarf. Bakugo, struggling how the hell is scarf do demon strong? He said, struggling to break out of it, but it was no use. Izuku, it's a capture weapon made of carbon fibers and a special alloy wire, but Bakugo, if you lose your temper like that again, you will be expelled, got it? He said, getting irritated from using his quirk. His eyes were getting dry. Midoriya walked back to the other students, and his friends praised him for his actions. Mr. Izuku let Bakugo go with his capture weapon. He looked at the group, and then he glared at Midoriya. To him, he was supposed to be another pebble stone for his victory. After all that happened, Midoriya got the highest score, and the student who got last place was the one with purple ball on his head. But to find out that the entire thing about being expelled was all a lie, that Mr. Izuku just wanted to use our quirks with everything we got. Most students were shocked that Mr. Izuku lied to everyone, but some knew it was true. 2 students, and Takamaki and Momo Yaoyorozu. The other student who got second place was also a lie. Time skipped when the class headed to the dormitory. When class ended, the class followed Mr. Izuku to the dorms. When they got there, they were greeted by Nizu, President Mike, and Midnight. Another class was also there with their teacher, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, Vlad King. They also explained that classes A and B would be living in the same building because somehow they were too low on budget to build another building. But how? After explaining what would happen when living in the dorm rooms, they stated that the students would be given a form to get their parents' signatures stating that they were okay with their child living on campus. All the students said they'd get their parents to sign the form, but the only student who couldn't get it signed by their parents was Izuku Midoriya. Midoriya admitted feeling a bit upset about not joining his classmates in the dorms. However, he was also skeptical about leaving the kids at the orphanage with what he considered to be the 2 worst caretakers of all time. Additionally, Midoriya wasn't entirely comfortable discussing the fact that he was an orphan. While they might try to get Torvald or Sakura to sign the form, he doubted they would want him to live there. They'd quickly remove him from the kid's influence if they thought it through. So they can charge the kid a ridiculous price and send them to a terrible family. So he was going to keep quiet about this. Time skipped when they got back to class. When the students returned to the classroom, Mr. Izuku had everyone introduce themselves. Izuku, alright, I want you all to introduce yourselves. I don't care who goes first. Just don't wake me up. Oh, and if you wish, you can tell everyone your quirks. He said this tiredly as he returned to his yellow sleeping bag, where the students stared deadpan at their teacher's antics. Ida, hand chop, very well. To ensure a smooth process, I suggest we follow the seating arrangements in order, he said to everyone while hand chopping, looking like a robot. Each student then started to introduce themselves. 𝐿𝐮𝐬𝐵, then I'll go first. Bonjour, everyone, my name is Izuku Midoriya. I like things that sparkle, and my dislikes are things that don't sparkle. My quirk is navel laser. I can fire a powerful laser beam from my belly button, but if I use it too much, it hurts my tummy. He introduced himself as he sparkled in front of everyone. Ishido, smiling, hi everyone. I'm Mina Ishido. I like dancing, reptiles, and fashion. What I dislike are bullies. My quirk is acid. I can create acid from my hands, and if I focus it, I can use it to attack or slightly melt the ground, making it slippery. She introduced herself as she smiled happily. 𝐶𝐮, I'm 𝐶𝐮𝐴𝐵, but please call me 𝐶𝐮. What I like are frogs, my family, and my friends. I hate people who bully others. Ribbit, my quirk is frog. I can do anything a frog can. My tongue can stretch 20 meters, and my hands and feet can stick to walls. Ribbit, she introduced herself with her finger on her chin. Everyone, Ribbit. Everyone thought besides the 6 that knew her. 𝐶𝐮, oh, don't mind that it's just a verbal tic in my family. She said this to those who asked, and they were satisfied with her answer. Ida, hand chop, my name is Tenya Ida. I like my family, maintaining order, and guiding those to the right path. I dislike those who don't follow the rules. My quirk is engine. I have mechanical devices in my legs that allow me to run faster and perform powerful attacks. He introduced himself as he was as stiff as a robot. Uraraka, smiling, hi guys, I'm Izuku Midoriya. I like my parents, Machi, and my friends, but I dislike those who make fun of my family. My quirk is zero gravity. I can make anything weightless if I touch anything with all 5 fingers. I can also use it on myself to float, but if I do so for too long, I start to feel sick. She introduced herself as he smiled brightly. Ojiro, hi guys, I'm Mishiro Ojiro. I like martial arts and training. I don't have many dislikes, but I hate when people make fun of my tail. Speaking of that, my quirk is tail. I can use it to strike enemies or climb poles and pillars for better mobility. He introduced himself as he scratched his head, being a bit nervous. Kaminari, yo, I'm Denki Kaminari. I like hanging out with friends, playing video games, and dueling. I don't have a dislike, but I hate studying if that counts. My quirk is electrification. I can gather electricity in my body and discharge it, but if I do too much, my brain gets fried briefly. He introduced himself casually. Kirishima, I'm Ijiro Kirishima. I like manly things, and what I dislike are unmanly things. My quirk is hardening. I can harden my entire body into a craggy form with blade-like edges, making it effective for attack and defense. He introduced himself as he stood proud like a man. Koda, writing, hi, I'm Koji Koda. I love animals and hate seeing them get hurt, and I'm terrified of bugs. I'm sorry, but I don't talk much. My quirk is Ani voice. I can control animals with my voice, and it also works on insects, he wrote on the board. As he introduced himself, everyone noticed that he didn't talk at all, as he was nervous. Sato, I'm Rikido Sato. What I like are sweets and baking. I don't dislike that many things. My quirk is sugar rush. If I consume a lot of sugar, it can make me 5 times stronger for a short PRD. He introduced himself as he scratched the top of his head. Shoji, I'm Mizo Shoji. I enjoy quiet and meditation. What I dislike are loud people. My quirk is dupli arms. I can duplicate body parts on my shoulders too. Enhance my attack abilities. He introduced himself and showcased his quirk by duplicating his arms, eyes, and ears. Jiro, I'm 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. I like music and playing instruments. I dislike rude people. My quirk is earphone jack. By connecting the plugs at the ends of my ears to the walls, I can eavesdrop. This also makes my hearing very sensitive. She introduced herself as if she didn't care. 𝐶𝐮, hey, I'm Hanta 𝐶𝐮. I like to help out at my dad's office and play video games. Honestly, the only thing I dislike is spiders. I had a horrible experience with one. My quirk is tape. I can launch tape from my elbows and catch enemies. He introduced himself and acted like a big shot. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. I'm 𝐒𝐮𝐴𝐲 I like birds and dark and quiet places. What I dislike are loud people. My quirk is Dark Shadow. It is a shadowy beast that dwells within me and grows stronger in the dark but weakens in the light of day. He introduced himself as Dark Shadow came out, greeting everyone. Dark Shadow, yo! It said, introducing itself to the students, with everyone shocked to know that it's got a mind of its own. Todoroki, I'm 𝐀𝐮𝐴𝐲. That's it. He introduced himself coldly and quickly returned to his desk. Everyone, sweat drop. That was short. Every student thought as he didn't even say what his quirk was. 𝐻𝐵𝐵, hey, my name's Toru 𝐻𝐵𝐵. I love girly things and hanging out with my bestie, but I dislike people making fun of others. My quirk is invisibility. As it states, I can turn invisible, but my clothes remain visible. Let me show you. She introduced herself with a smile. She turned invisible, her clothes still showing. 𝐵Akugo. Tisk, I'm Katsuki 𝐵Akugo. Remember that you extras because I'm gonna be the #1 hero. He yelled at everyone, not caring. Midoriya. Oh, I'm Izuku Midoriya. I like comic books, superheroes, quirks, movies, TV shows, and 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. My quirk is superpower. It may sound lame but can enhance my strength and speed. From what I've heard from my doctors, my quirk is extraordinary, and they have come up with a theory that I might have multiple quirks. He introduced himself, and everyone was shocked that Midoriya has a quirk like that. Even Mr. Aizawa heard this and was surprised. Mineta. I'm Mineta. The things I like. Girls. What I dislike is not being around girls. My quirk is pop-off. I can pick these sticky ball off my head and stick them onto anything. They don't stick to me so I can bounce off or climb on them. He introduced himself. He tried to look cool but it didn't. Everyone, wow. That's a interesting quirk, but that first part, what the actual F? Everyone thought as he weirded them out. Momo. Hello, everyone, my name is Momo Yaoyorozu. What I enjoy are reading, dueling, and studying. What I hate are perverts glares at Mineta and people who try to use me. My quirk is creation. I can create any non-living thing as long as I know the object's molecular structure. She introduced herself as she was as stern as a professional. Cammy, hey y'all, I'm Cammy Utsushimi, but you can call me Cammy. I'm hyped to collab with you guys. I'm into kids, and I find a dude who's good with M super attractive. I can't stand rude and mean peeps. My power is glamour. I can make visual and sound tricks for a bit. Let's get it. She introduced herself while saying trendy things that confused everyone. Everyone said, I have no idea what she just said. Almost every student said this, but only one student knew what she was saying. Midoriya? Oh, so you can create illusions for a brief PRD that can be nature or even other people, complete with voices, right? He asked her as he was writing down her quirk on his hero analysis for the future notebook as he was about to finish it. Cammy, yes, like totally on point. She said to Midoriya as he finished writing his analysis on her quirk. Everyone, wait, you understood all that. Everyone said to Midoriya as he responded with a nod. And, I'm 𝐸ntakamaki. What I like is to help those in need, and I can be good with my judgment of character. I don't like those who I believe are some. As for what my quirk is, I don't want to talk about it. She introduced herself as she calmed down, and some guys started checking her out. You can guess which perverts Aizawa. Now that you know each other, you're dismissed early. This day was intended for orientation, he stated, standing up in his sleeping bag. Everyone, sweat drop, unfortunately, we didn't even get to attend it. The students said simultaneously with a really look on their faces. At the entrance after the introductions, the students returned home, but Midoriya returned to the orphanage. While walking, he thought about the dormitory situation and did not notice his surroundings. As he was thinking, someone stopped him and put their hand on his shoulder. He turned around and saw Ida behind him. Ida, hello Midoriya. Today was an interesting start for you, wasn't it? He asked if he had found today different from what he expected for their first day. Then he wondered Midoriya another question. By the way, are you heading to the train station? Midoriya, hey Ida, why yeah, it sure was an interesting first day. And yeah, I'm heading to the train station, he said, answering his questions. Ida, do you mind if I join you? He asked Midoriya, to which he nodded. Then Ida bowed to Midoriya. You are superior to me. Hey Midoriya. Wait up. Midoriya heard behind him as he was about to answer Ida. They turned to see Uraraka waving at them, followed by Tsu, Ashido, Hagakure, Kirishima, and 3 new faces. Midoriya, oh hey guys, what's up? He said, looking at them and noticing new faces following them. Oh hey, it's you guys from class, right? The 3 nodded, and then Midoriya had to think a bit about their names, but quickly remembered them. Midoriya, let's see looks at. Your 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, turns 2. Your Denki Kaminari, turns 2. And your 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, right? He said to the 3 who all nodded. Then he put his hand out to them. Well then, it's nice to meet you, Jiro, Kaminari, and 𝗧𝗍𝗍𝗟. And I'm Jiro. Izuku Midoriya, we know and likewise. She said this to Midoriya as Kaminari and Cammy nodded. Cammy? And like, hit me up as Cammy, I don't rep my family name, right? She smiled at Midoriya. Midoriya, oh alright Cammy. He said this to Cammy, which made her happy and caused the girls and, surprisingly, Jiro to be jealous as well. Kirishima/Kaminari, is this guy dense or something? They thought, also scared because the girls had a scary aura. Jiro, why am I angry by this? It can be. No, it can't be, I just met him. She thought to herself as her hand was on her chest. Kaminari, anyway, we were wondering if we could walk home with you guys, he said, wanting to change the subject. Ida, not at all, he said while fixing his glasses. Hagakure, by the way Midoriya, back at the tests, you were amazing. She said, praising him for what he showcased. Ashido, Kaminari, I know, right, /feel you. They said, remembering what they saw earlier. Kirishima, that was so manly, he said as he slammed his fists together with his quirk to create a spark. Jiro, it was pretty cool, she said with a smile, twirling one of her earplugs. Tsu, that scene almost reminded me of All Might, she said with a finger on her chin. This surprised Midoriya a bit. Author, he doesn't know about One for All yet, but he will later. Uraraka, that punch was amazing Deku, she said, raising her fist. This surprised Midoriya because she called him Deku. Midoriya, Deku. He shouted in surprise while scaring everyone. Uraraka, yeah, isn't that what Bakugo called you during the test? She said while everyone else remembered the name Bakugo called him. Then she wondered about the name. By the way, why does Bakugo call you Deku? Midoriya, well, Bakugo calls me that as an insult, which means, defenseless Izuku, he said while quoting the meaning angrily, shocking everyone, especially the girls. Ida, that's not very sportsmanlike, he said with his hand under his chin, and the guys agreed. Cammy, that's not lit dude. She said, already not liking Bakugo, but it's not just her, even the rest have started not liking him. Uraraka, oh, I didn't realize that, I'm sorry, she quickly said to Midoriya, not wanting to hurt his feelings. But then I thought of the name for a bit and then said, you know, I like Deku. It gives me a you can do it feeling and would make a great hero name. Also, I think it sounds kind of cute. When Midoriya heard this, it was astounding to him. Before, people called him Deku for being weak, but Uraraka gave it a different meaning. Meaning that felt. Midoriya, then you can call me Deku, Achiko. He said, smiling proudly at her, catching her off guard. Ida, just like that. Weren't you saying that it was an insult? He said, shocked that Midoriya was okay with this, but then Jiro got a little irritated when Midoriya called Uraraka by her first name for some reason. Jiro, hey Midoriya, you called Uraraka by her first name, she quickly told him, still wondering what was happening to her. Why am I getting irritated by this? The girls were getting jealous because Midoriya called Uraraka by her first name. Even Cammy felt envious, but she thought it was a headache. Cammy, why am I so pressed about this? Maybe I have a headache. She thought to herself. Midoriya, seriously. He quickly realized it when everyone, except Uraraka, who was blushing red, was nodding to him. Then, he promptly apologized. Uraraka, I am sore, Uraraka. It's okay, Deku. I don't mind it. She quickly said, interrupting Midoriya as she put her hands down. Still blushing, she told him something bold, even for her. I don't mind if you call me by my first name since I'm calling you Deku. Midoriya, okay then. Achiko. He said with a bright smile, causing her to blush. This also causes the other girls to be jealous, except Tsu, because he already calls her by her first name. Ashido/Hagakure, hey, Greenie/Midoriya, can you also call me by my first name? They both said this to Midoriya, wanting to be included. Jiro, I wouldn't mind that as well, she said to Midoriya, looking to the side with a bit of blush. Then she thought, why am I acting like this? Cammy, don't ghost me, like I already told you, just hit me up with my first name, she said to Midoriya, reminding him. Excuse me. Midoriya heard before him as he was about to answer the girl. Everyone looked back and saw Takamaki walking towards Midoriya. Midoriya, oh hey he was saying before and interrupted him. And, please call me in. And I'm going to be honest, you look familiar. She said this to Midoriya, looking closely at him, and was unsure about approaching the other students, especially those who seemed inappropriate. While she might spend some time with the girls, it wouldn't be much. Many because of her past and who her mother is. But when she looked at Midoriya, something about him interested her. She's not sure why, but she wants to know him better. And, please don't see me as a creep, Midoriya, but you remind me of someone I once knew. She said to Midoriya, hoping he wouldn't think that of her. Midoriya, oh, don't worry, it's fine. I can somewhat understand that, he said with his signature smile that caused her to blush. Then, I had an idea and looked at everyone. Hey guys, who wants to have a hangout? Everyone agreed with his idea, and Anne was surprised by their enthusiasm. Although initially skeptical, Midoriya persuaded her to join in, and she eventually agreed. The group then walked away from you to hang out and get to know each other better. For Midoriya, his first day in U exceeded his expectations. But little did he know that All Might was watching them. He was lost in his thoughts and was concluding. All Might, that quirk of his. It has to be one for all. So it's not lost after all. You were quick to think that. Hisashi. Next day of U. The next day at U. As Midoriya walked to his class, he noticed that every student was talking about him. He initially thought he had done something wrong, but the chatter was about his quirk and how he made the whole school shake. The interesting part was that no one knew what he looked like. Some students imagined him as a big, scary guy, while others thought he looked down on them. On the other hand, the girls assumed he must be handsome, which shocked him. Those who had met him knew better. However, they all had one thing in common. They were praising him for becoming an epic hero. This made Midoriya happy as he continued on his way to the classroom. Time skipped. The students in Class 1A were sitting at their desks, waiting for their teacher to come and start class. Midoriya was the only one who knew who'd be teaching them as they waited, as he heard his voice. All Might, I am coming through the doors like a regular person. He shouted to the class as he entered the door in a bizarre position. The students were all shocked to see the number one hero going to teach them hero basics. Cammy, All Might's in the building. At UA. She said, surprised. Kaminari, whoa, I didn't realize All Might was teaching here. Kirishima, so he's our teacher here. Oh, this is so manly. He shouted, raising his fists. Tsu, hey, isn't that the Silver Age costume? She said as All Might walked awkwardly to the podium. Ojiro, his style gives me goosebumps. All Might, hello, everyone, and welcome to the most essential class at UA. Here, you will learn the fundamentals of being a hero and a professional. You'll also learn to fight in the name of heroism. Let's get started. He gestured emphatically as he made his point. And today's lesson is combat training. He pulls out a card labeled combat training and shows it to the class. Bakugo, combat, he said, wearing a sinister smile. Midoriya, training. All Might, one of the most important aspects of being a hero, is this. He shouted, pointing to the wall, where suitcases with numbers on them emerged. Your costumes are made from your quirk records and requests made before the start of the school year. Please get dressed and meet me at ground beta. Class 1A, yes sir. Every student yelled as they were about to go to the wall to grab their bags. Midoriya was the first to leave, and everyone was confused when they noticed that he hadn't picked up his suitcase. His slot number was empty. This left every student wondering, where is his suitcase? At ground beta, All Might stood on the street in front of the exit when he heard the sound of footsteps echoing out of the tunnel. Out came Midoriya in his hero costume. All Might, ha! Hello young Midoriya. He shouted at first, but then noticed Midoriya's interesting choice of hero costume. Midoriya's costume was homemade. It featured an old All Might hoodie paired with green long johns breathes, a red belt, white gloves, black elbow and knee pads, and red shoes. His mask resembled his costume Alpha, but this time it included a respirator, which is what his mouthguard is called. No joke. If you don't believe me, look it up. Attached to it as one piece, as well as black goggles similar to those on Tom Holland's homemade Spider-Man costume. Midoriya, hey All Might, looked around the area. I thought some students would already be here. Looks like I'm the first, he said to All Might. While All Might was thinking as he sweat drops from the back of his head, I mean, you did leave like you were in a rush. All Might cleared his throat anyway. Young Midoriya, is this your hero costume? It's very interesting to say the least, he said to Midoriya, trying not to hurt his feelings. Midoriya, oh well. The truth is that I forgot to submit my sketches for my hero costume, so this was last minute, he said awkwardly, admitting this to himself while looking to the side with his hand on his neck. Then he looked back at All Might. I know it's not much, but it'll work, right? All Might, I mean yeah. It's better than nothing, he said to Midoriya, considering surprising him with a new hero costume someday. If I'm being honest, young Midoriya, you look great in your costume. Midoriya was grateful that All Might said that. As he was going to say something, they both heard footsteps walking towards the end of the tunnel. All Might and Midoriya looked towards the tunnel, and the rest of the students came out. All Might, they say clothes are part of a hero, ladies and gentlemen. And you are proof of that. Take it seriously from now on. You are all heroes in training. Everyone arrived out of the tunnel with their hero costumes. You guys look awesome. Now, without wasting time, let's get started. Midoriya was so amazed at everyone's costumes that he was about to pull out his notebook of hero analysis, but he didn't see Uraraka walking towards him. Uraraka, Deku, is that you? Midoriya, oh hey Uraraka. It is me, he said as he looked at the girl's outfit. Uraraka, whoa, Deku, what an amazing hero costume. It's simple but amazing. I'll admit it looks so cool on you. You look like a famous comic hero to something. Midoriya, thanks Uraraka. Uraraka, Wyatt. I should have been more specific about my preferences. This bodysuit is very skin-tight, she said, a little embarrassed. Midoriya looked at her to see if he was being honest with himself. He thought Uraraka looked so pretty in her outfit. Midoriya, oh. Uraraka looks so pretty in her outfit. He thought in his mind as he thought he was looking at the goddess. Uraraka, it's pretty embarrassing. I don't think it looks good on me. Midoriya, what? Don't say that. You look fantastic. I think you look adorable in that outfit. He said this without realizing the impact of his words on her, causing her to blush deeply. Then Jiro came to Midoriya with the rest of the girls, who were jealous that he praised Uraraka's outfit like that. Jiro chimed in. Jiro, hey Midoriya, it was nice of you to say that boldly to her, she told him, making him realize what he had said to Uraraka. Before Midoriya could say anything, Uraraka chimed in. Uraraka, it's okay Jiro. Thank you very much, she said, blushing but happy with the boy's praise. Then 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 poked in. 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿, "Hey, Midori, how do I look in my hero outfit?" she said, trying to flirt with Midoriya while leaning forward. Before Midoriya could do anything, he felt a tap on the shoulder. He turned to see nothing on his right. Then, something covered his eyes, and he thought of one person who could do this. "Midoriya, is that you, 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿?" he said, earning a giggle from the girl. "𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿. I guess you found out," she said happily, letting go of his eyes. Midoriya turned to 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿, turned visible, and got a good look at her hero suit. 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿's hero suit was a skin-tight bodysuit in a lighter blue color with pink lines. It also had goggles with light blue lenses and the same gloves and shoes as in the anime. Midoriya, "Whoa, nice costume, 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿. I like the goggles on you, they look cute on you," he told her, causing her to blush and making the three girls who had known Midoriya for a while jealous. The other three girls who had met Midoriya yesterday felt strange about this. "Jiro, Cammy, and why do I feel like this? Could it be? No, it couldn't. We just met. Why am I feeling like this? Is it possible? Nah, it can't be. We just met." They thought as they had a hand on their chests. "Ashido, Uraraka, Tsu, why didn't he compliment me? He didn't even say anything about my outfit. I know he did for me, but I don't like how he said it." They thought as they were irritated by this. "𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿, TT thank you Midoriya. Anyway," points at her goggles, "these are not your typical goggles. They're custom-made for me because they have night vision, heat signatures, and identification. I can also adjust them for lighting if it gets too bright. But the best part is that they can also be invisible," she said happily, impressing Midoriya. Even the girls were impressed with them. 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 poked in again, and this time, Tsu joined. "Ashido/Tsu, hey, cutie/greenie, how do I look in my hero outfit?" they said to Midoriya while Tsu put her index finger on her chin and 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 leaned forward. "Midoriya, oh, you girls look great in your hero suits," he happily said, making them blush. Before Jiro could say anything, Cammy put her arm around her shoulder, shocking her. She also surprised and by including her in this. "Cammy, yo Midoriya, what's good with my Jiro's and Anne's hero fits, fam?" she told him, confusing all the girls but only for Midoriya. He understood her. "Midoriya, oh, you and Jiro's hero outfits are cool. As for Anne," he said to them as he looked at Anne's interesting choice for a hero costume. "And why are you in your PE clothes?" The girls turned and realized Anne was wearing her PE clothes for this practice. Anne knew this would happen, so she had an excuse. "And, well, my hero costume is not ready, so I decided to wear my PE clothes," she said, not wanting to look anyone in the face. The girls accepted it, but Midoriya noticed she was hiding something. He believed it was something she wasn't comfortable discussing, so he decided not to press her about it. Then All Might calls everyone's attention. "All Might, now that everyone is present, it's time to prepare. It's time for combat training." After he said that, a guy in armor raised his hand. "Sir," the guy said. Midoriya turned around and realized Ida was inside his armor. He thought his costume was dope as hell. "Ida, this is the simulated city from our entrance exam. Does that mean we'll undergo urban training again?" he asked. "All Might, no, we are going to take 2 steps forward," he said while raising both fingers. Most battles with villains reported in the news occur outdoors. However, the most dangerous villains operate indoors. Consider illegal businesses, prisons, and false imprisonment. Smarter villains lurk in the shadows. The students were listening while Midoriya was in thought with his hand on his chin. "All Might, in today's class, you will be divided into groups of heroes and villains and will fight in 2-on-2 battles. Tsu, isn't this a bit too advanced? We haven't received any basic training," she said as Midoriya quietly said he had some training. "All Might, the best training you'll receive is on the battlefield. However, remember that you're not dealing with robots this time, you're dealing with real people." "Yaoyorozu, sir, will you determine the winner?" "Bakugo, how much can you hurt the other person?" "Uraraka, should we be concerned about the expulsion of the other group?" Ida, how will the roles of hero and villain be divided? Aoyama, does this cape look good on me? All Might, please hold on, I will answer your question shortly, said All Might while picking up a script. Please pay attention. Class 1A, is he reading from a script? All Might cleared his throat. The situation is as follows. The villains have concealed a nuclear bomb within their hideout. The heroes must work to disrupt the villains' plans. To achieve this, the heroes must capture the villains or locate the bomb in time. On the other hand, the villains can succeed by either safeguarding their weapon or capturing the heroes. Class 1A, it sounds like something from an American movie. All Might, the teams will be selected in this area, he said with a box in his hands. Ida, sir, isn't there a more effective way to do this? He asked as Midoriya turned to him and said, Midoriya, consider this. Heroes frequently collaborate with other heroes from different agencies. This way, we learn to work as a team with diverse heroes. Ida, life consists of a series of random events. I apologize for my earlier rudeness, he said as he bowed. All Might, no problem. Now, let's form the teams. Team A, Izuku Midoriya and 𝐀𝐮𝐴 Team B, 𝐀𝐮𝐴 Shoji and Shoto Todoroki Team C, Minoru Mineta and Toru Hagakure Team D, Tenya Ida and Katsuki Bakugo Team E, 𝐒𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 Tokoyami and Yuga Aoyama Team F, Rikido Sato and Koji Koda Team G, Denki Kaminari and Kyoka Jiro Team H, Achiko Uraraka and Tsuyu Azui Team I, Masahiro Ojiro and Mina Ishido Team J, Hantasiro and Ijiro Kirishima Team K, Kami Utsushimi and Takamaki. All Might, it seems we have an extra team. One team will compete against them again. We will determine that once we finish working with the other teams, he said with his hand on his chin. Yaoyorozu, you must be Midoriya, am I correct? Midoriya turned around and saw Momo Yaoyorozu, a girl with long black hair typically tied back in a spiky ponytail. A large lock hung down the right side of her face. Her eyes were dark, thin, and penetrating, complemented by short eyebrows that framed a determined expression. Her hero costume features a high-collared, sleeveless crimson leotard adorned with silver lines at her waist and around her arms. The leotard is designed to be open, exposing her skin from her neck to just below her navel. She wears calf-length red boots with heels that dip sharply in the center. Around her waist are 2 gold utility belts and a thinner one that sits just below her shoulders at the top of her chest. This design allows her to create items from multiple points on her body, as her quirk can only be activated when her skin is exposed. If Midoriya was being honest, he was caught off guard by Yaoyorozu's hero suit. Midoriya, Weiss, it's me. You must be Yaoyorozu, right? I'm counting on you, he said while making a small reverence. Yaoyorozu, I have to say the same thing to you, Midoriya. She said this as she returned the gesture. The girls were watching, and Ishido, Hagakure, Uraraka, and Tsuyu felt anger and jealousy because Yaoyorozu was on Midoriya's team, and he was surprised by her hero suit. Meanwhile, Jiro, Kami, and had similar feelings but tried to deny their emotions. All Might, the first teams that will compete against each other are these teams right here. He showed the ball with the letters A and D on them, and both teams were shocked to be the first. Team A will act as the heroes while Team D will be the villains. Everyone else can go to the monitoring room to observe. Yes, sir. Both teams minus Bakugo said. Midoriya stared at the ground, reflecting on the upcoming fight, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of worry. Despite having dealt with Bakugo's attitude for a long time, he knew Bakugo would only get stronger. Glancing to the side, he noticed Bakugo glaring at him with intense hatred, causing a shiver to run down his spine. He looked back down at the ground and realized his hands were shaking. The sight triggered a wave of painful memories from the past. This went unnoticed by the girls as they saw Midoriya, who looked scared. If they could, they would run up to him to hug him so he could relax. However, he remembered everything that had happened with All Might, the kids at the orphanage, and his friends, who had taught him that there are good people in the world. So no more. Midoriya clenched his fists, determined to be no longer afraid of Bakugo. He glared at Bakugo, causing the explosive blonde to look surprised before his expression shifted to anger. All Might, villains, enter the building and prepare. You have 5 minutes to prepare before the heroes are released and the battle begins. Midoriya, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, Ida. Yes, sir. All Might, 𝐂𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. Think from the villain's point of view, then you can attack. But if things go too far, I'll interfere. Ida. Yes, sir. 𝐂𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 wasn't paying attention to All Might's words. Instead, he kept looking at Midoriya, who stared back at him. 𝐂𝐮𝐴 gritted his teeth in sheer rage at the sight before him as he approached the building. Inside the building, Ida and 𝐂𝐮𝐴 were in a room that contained a large missile. Ida, even though it's only training, it still hurts to conform to villainous behavior, he said as he approached the bomb. So, this is the weapon we must protect. He hit the bomb. It's made of paper mache. 𝐂𝐮𝐴, hey. 𝐴 turns to 𝐂𝐮𝐴 standing at the door. Do you think Deku has a strong quirk? Ida. Yes, I do. Didn't you see how he threw that ball with his incredible strength? From what I observed, he held back so much power that it pushed the entire class backward with force. Speaking of Midoriya, why do you get angry when it comes to him? Do you two have a history together? He asked while 𝐂𝐮𝐴 was shaking. 𝐂𝐿𝐴, I can't believe this. Ever since he got his quirk, everyone has praised him, saying he could be the next All Might. How dare he do that? Was he laughing behind my back? He took everything that was supposed to be mine. 𝐂𝐮𝐴 got a sinister look on his face, but it won't stay that way, you dumb nerd. I'll show everyone that you're just a nobody, and I'll beat you senselessly. Outside of the building, both Midoriya and Yaoyorozu were examining the blueprints of the building. However, Midoriya was preoccupied with something else. He was anxious about the upcoming fight. He wondered if he would stand a chance against 𝐂𝐮𝐴. Just as he began to spiral into negative thoughts, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Turning around, he saw that Yaoyorozu was calling him. Yaoyorozu, hey Midoriya, are you okay? She worriedly asked him. Midoriya, oh yeah, I'm fine. I was thinking about this fight that's gonna happen. He said, looking back at the blueprint. Yaoyorozu then wanted to know something. Yaoyorozu, Midoriya, may I ask you something? She asked, to which Midoriya nodded. Do you and 𝐂𝐮𝐴 have a history? I've noticed that he seems to hold a grudge against you. Can you explain why? Midoriya anticipated this moment, so he responded while still looking down. He then lowered his hood and removed his mask. Midoriya, we had a history together. We were best friends as kids, so close that people said we were like brothers. However, everything changed when he got his quirk. He said, remembering everything that had happened. Yaoyorozu listened, surprised by what had occurred between them. Then he changed the subject and wore a determined expression. Midoriya, however, I won't let that interfere with this test. He said as he put his mask and hood back on. I will give it my all. I won't lose today. Yaoyorozu was struck by what Midoriya said. Then, something inside her began to spark, and she now respected him. This respect also helped her build some determination within herself. Yaoyorozu, all right, Midoriya. What's the plan? She said, determinedly, with a smile. This caught Midoriya off guard. Midoriya, huh? Yaoyorozu, we're teammates, right? So I'll follow you to the end of this test. She said with a smile. Midoriya was happy about this, and a plan came to his head. Midoriya, it's kind of risky, but I have a plan, he said, thinking with a serious look that made Yaoyorozu blush. But still listened as he looked at her. I feel that 𝐂𝐮𝐴 would come after me acting alone. So I keep him busy while you find the bomb. Is that okay? Yaoyorozu nodded in agreement. Just then All Might gave the signal. All Might, all right. They heard All Might speak through the sound system. Let's start combat training. Team A, Team D. Your time starts now. Monitoring room. The students and All Might were in a room with a large screen and multiple monitors at different angles. All Might, pay attention, young heroes. Think about what you would do if you were in this situation, he said to the student as he turned and looked at the monitor with Midoriya and Yaoyorozu on it, thinking. Young Midoriya. As a teacher, I can't play favorites, but as myself, I wish you the best of luck. He grabbed his microphone, spoke into it, and had a headset in his ear. The girls watched intently while each had their hands on their chest. 𝗧𝗓𝗃, 𝐬𝗓, 𝗧𝗓, 𝗧𝗓, 𝗀𝐻𝐿, and good luck, Deku. /Midori. /Greenie. /Midoriya. /good vibes, de. Inside the building, Midoriya and Yaoyorozu entered the front door and walked intently. They found nothing on the first and second floors, but when they reached the third, Midoriya sensed something, warning him to dodge, because Bakugo came in to blast the two of them. Midoriya was quicker. He grabbed Yaoyorozu, jumped back, and shielded her from the blast. Midoriya, Yaoyorozu, are you okay? The boy asked, holding her close like a knight and a princess. Yaoyorozu, I'm fine, but what about you, Midoriya? The girl was blushing at what the boy did to protect her, but she was worried that her classmate got hurt. Midoriya, I'm fine. You already know what to do. Go and find the bomb, I'll take care of it, he told her. She nodded but stayed behind him. Bakugo, so, Deku, you managed to dodge that. You think you're safe? Midoriya, actually, I knew you'd come after me, he said as he got up. Back to the monitor room, Mineta. Whoa, he jumped on them, he said as everyone saw what Bakugo just did. Kirishima, a surprise attack. That isn't manly. All Might, it's a good strategy. He's playing his role. Acting like a real villain. Mina, did you guys see how Midoriya dodged? 𝗧𝗓, I know, right? That was so cool. He sure knows how to move. Cammy, OMG, that was super lit, I got major vibes from it. She said, still confusing everyone. 𝗧𝗓, I agree. They said, being calm from the outside, but on the inside, they were freaking out by how cool Midoriya looked. 𝗧𝗓𝗃, way to go, Deku. She said as her arms were in the air. Kaminari, Bakugo is heading his way. He said while watching Bakugo attack the heroes. Back to the building, Bakugo, I won't hurt you so much that they'll have to stop the fight. But I'll get close to it. Now fight me. He said as he ran towards Midoriya, intending to attack him. Bakugo went for a right hook, but Midoriya intercepted it. He grabbed the explosive blonde's arm as he twisted and elbowed him in the face and then his stomach, causing pain too. But Midoriya didn't stop there. He let go of his right arm and then grabbed the collar of his hero suit, activating his quirk. He jumped, pulling Bakugo over his shoulder and slamming him to the ground. This impressed Yaoyorozu with his movements. Back to the monitor room, everyone in the monitoring room was amazed at what they had just seen. Kaminari, 𝗧𝗏, Mineta, Kirishima, 𝗧𝗓, ODMN. 𝗧𝗓/and, whoa. What move was that? Ashido, 𝗧𝗓, Cammy, that was so cool. / that was straight fire. 𝗧𝗓𝗃, that was amazing, she said, happy that Midoriya had taken the first blow and knocked down Bakugo with everything. Back to the building, Midoriya, you know what I have noticed, Bakugo. You always start with a right hook in a fight. I know that because I've been watching you for years. Bakugo slowly got up and turned towards Midoriya. Midoriya, I've analyzed all the amazing heroes out there. Including you. You know the notebook you blew up at school. You were in it. In other words, my little friend, I know you very well. Bakugo glared at Midoriya and started to get angry. He opened his eyes and said one more thing. Midoriya, you can call me Deku, but I'm not the same Deku anymore. That weak, useless Deku you knew has changed to another one now. Now I'm Deku. The name of a hero and the one who can do it. He said as he got a very serious, calm, and determined expression, while Bakugo looked like a wild animal. Then, something started to click in Yaoyorozu, and she began to feel something. She thought it was just her nervousness, but little did she know she was also falling for him. Bakugo, he's not even shaking. Who does he think he is? You are just a weakling. He thought, releasing small explosions with his hand. Midoriya, Yaoyorozu, hurry up. He said without looking at the girl. Yaoyorozu hesitated initially, but she ran because Midoriya was confident and in control of the situation. Bakugo. On listening, Could you give me a report on your situation? Where are you? He called through a headset in 𝐻𝐵𝐲's ear. 𝐻𝐵𝐲 went to the headset and said, 𝐻𝐵𝐲, just shut up and defend the bomb, for eyes. I'm furious right now. 𝐴𝐿DA, are you forgetting our mission? He said before hearing a cut in the call. Then he yelled, frustrated by 𝐻𝐵𝐲's attitude. Hello. So. He hung up on me. This is not the time. We should be partners. Back at the monitor room, the students saw that 𝐻𝐵𝐲 was talking to someone, but they couldn't hear anything on the video. Kirishima, hey, who is 𝐻𝐵𝐲 talking to? And why can't we hear anything? There's no sound in this video. All Might, oh, I gave each of them headphones to communicate with their partners and the building map. In addition to the capture tape reels. With the capture tapes around your opponent, it means that they are being captured. Ashido, there's a 15-minute time limit, and the heroes don't even know where the bomb is. Tsu, I believe that's right. Hagakure, so that means the heroes are disadvantaged. All Might, the true heroes must overcome villains in our daily lives. This is the life of a hero, even when the odds are against us. We have to fight. He said as the students were inspired by All Might's words, now, all together. Plus ultra. Everyone shouted the school motto Aoyama, Mausia, 𝐻𝐵𝐲 is on the move. He noticed something, and everyone turned their attention to the screen. Back to the building 𝐻𝐵𝐲. So you think you can beat me? Don't get too cocky, even with that quirk of yours. Midoriya, oh, you're one to talk about being cocky. Plus, you're the only one who's saying this and hurting yourself. He said in a serious tone, getting into his fighting position. 𝐻𝐵𝐲 was irritated by his answer. Then he advanced toward Midoriya, using his explosion as an impulse. He was going to kick Midoriya's head, but the greenish one blocked it with his quirk. Then, quickly, he grabbed his leg, turned around, and slammed him to the wall hard. But that didn't stop 𝐻𝐵𝐲. He tried to attack him with an explosion. However, Midoriya dodged it by jumping back to another wall. Then he advances toward 𝐻𝐵𝐲 by punching him in the face, causing him to stagger a bit, then kicks him in the chest, causing him to be pushed back and fall to the ground. This annoyed 𝐻𝐵𝐲 from getting hit a few times, so he ran towards him and unleashed a blast at the greenish one, who quickly dodged it with a leap towards the wall. But 𝐻𝐵𝐲 didn't stop there, sending an explosive toward Midoriya, which caused a lot of smoke. As the smoke cleared, Midoriya disappeared. 𝐻𝐵𝐲 and everyone in the monitoring room were surprised by the disappearance of the greenish one during the smoke. Back to the monitor room. Ashido, wait, what happened? Uraraka, where's Deku? Kirishima, I don't see him. Ojiro, he disappeared. Hagakure, OMG, I didn't know he could turn invisible like me. She said happily that she was not the only one. All Might, young Midoriya. I know I've helped you with your training, but just how much have you been trained? He thought, impressed with this. Back to the building. 𝐻𝐵𝐲 was looking for Midoriya but no luck. He was getting irritated as he shouted at the top of his lungs. 𝐻𝐵𝐲, where are you, you demon nerd? Come out and fight. He shouted while releasing explosions in his hands. But little did he know that Midoriya was behind him. Midoriya, right behind you. He whispered to 𝐻𝐵𝐲's ear. The smoke surprised 𝐻𝐵𝐲, causing him to turn around and use his quirk to hit him. When the smoke cleared, no one was there. 𝐻𝐵𝐲 was surprised, and everyone in the monitoring room was confused. Midoriya, I hope Yaoyorozu is doing well on her end, he thought as he hid somewhere near 𝐻𝐵𝐲. Meanwhile, Yaoyorozu hides behind one of the pillars in the room where Ida was with the bomb. Yaoyorozu, okay, I found the bomb. I better contact Midoriya so we can finish this, she thought. She had heard Ida say something before she could communicate with Midoriya. Ida, 𝐻𝐵𝐲 has an evil side. But that's exactly what I need for us to succeed in this training. I must temporarily dedicate myself to the temptation of crime. Yeah, I won't fail this obstacle and shame the 𝐿𝐷A family. So, I must embrace evil to become a hero. 𝐿𝐷A turned to the door and continued, I am the embodiment of villainy. 𝐿𝐷A shouted to himself in a false villain voice. Yaoyorozu, oh no, he's taking it too seriously. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. she thought as she struggled to contain her laughter, but it wasn't working well. Ida, what? A heroine. I know you're there, show yourself now. He said while trying to act in a good way. Evil. But that didn't sit well with him, and she noticed it. Yaoyorozu, sigh good work, Momo. She said to herself as she walked away from the pillar. Ida, ever since Bakugo came out, I suspected one of you heroes would come here. You may have an impressive quirk, heroine. But now, I won't let you stop me. Ha. Yaoyorozu, my god, you don't have to take it so seriously, she thought, unable to believe what she saw. Back to the monitor room Kaminari. Bakugo isn't holding back at all. Kirishima, yeah, but still, Midoriya faced him even while using his quirk. That's very brave and manly of him. Tsu, even with a quirk that involves a lot of strength until he's doing well. Ribbit, Ashido, Midori got moves. Might make him a dance partner. Hagakure, I gotta do my hardest on my turn to impress him, she thought. Jiro, Kami, and might ask him for some tips about making moves like that. / might hit him up for some tips on how to pull off moves like that, they said to themselves. Jiro, and I'm curious about something. How did Midoriya learn to fight like that? All Might, there's a question I also want to know. Young Midoriya never told me he knew how to fight like this. That explains why he did well on the entrance exam, but I didn't teach him how to fight like that. But that might be good. So I don't have to worry about teaching him to fight. The way now is for him to get more control of One for All. Ochako, I hope the Deku team wins. She thought as she watched the screens showing Midoriya and Yaoyorozu. You can do it, Death. Back to the building, Midoriya stood watching Bakugo, who kept looking for the greenish one, until he heard a voice in his earpiece. Yaoyorozu, Midoriya. Are you there? Midoriya, yes, I am. How is your situation? He said in a very low tone. Yaoyorozu, listen, I found the bomb, and it's in the middle of the 5th floor. But 𝐴𝐵 saw me, and maybe I need some help. Midoriya, okay, I'll come to help you and finish this test. He said this before coming up with a stupid idea that will throw Bakugo off guard. I have an idea, but it's stupid. Yaoyorozu, what is it? She asked, with Midoriya responding. You'll see or hear. Yaoyorozu, he said 𝐶𝐻𝐵, okay, time is ticking. I'd better work with now. He thought he took the idea, an aperture tape. Midoriya emerges from his hiding place to show himself to Bakugo, who doesn't notice the greenish man's presence. Bakugo, where are you, Yubisui? Midoriya, I'm right behind you. Before Bakugo could turn around, Midoriya did something that caught everyone off guard. He gave Bakugo Midoriya, Wet Willy. He shouted as he put his index finger cover in his 𝐶𝐿𝐴 in Bakugo's ear, causing him to scream. Everyone heard this, and most of the students were laughing, with girls laughing their butts off, including Yaoyorozu, while others were trying to consume their laughter like Ida heard from Yaoyorozu's earpiece. All Might, young Midoriya. This is a test, so you should take it seriously, but that caught me off guard. He thought as he tried not to laugh. Bakugo was cleaning his ear from the saliva in it. He turned to Midori, angry. Bakugo, what the F, Deku? Why the hell did you do that? He asked as he cleaned his ear. Midoriya, sorry, I always wanted to do that. He said, chuckling while scratching his head. After Bakugo finished cleaning his ear, Midoriya put his hand in his pocket with the capture tape. Bakugo, finally, you've decided to build your courage and be a real man. Come on. Face me with everything you've got so I can prove I'm better than you. Midoriya. He said nothing. He just got into position to face Bakugo and pin him down with his tape. Bakugo, you're underestimating me. Damn it. He thought as he shook with rage, clenched his teeth, and released small explosions with his hands. Then Bakugo lunged at him with an explosion in his face, but Midoriya activated his quirk to dodge it and wrapped part of the capture tape around his right arm. Bakugo uses his arm to hit the greenish man's face, but he catches it before he lets out an explosion and wraps him with another part of the capture tape, thus bringing the two arms together. Bakugo tried to attack him with his arms together, but Midoriya bent down and wrapped the rest of the capture tape around his 2 legs. To finish, Midoriya trips 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽's feet, making him fall to the ground again, landing on his back. All this in one quick motion, so he looks like a wild animal tied in a rodeo. Midoriya gets up and lets out a calm sigh while the Pomeranian goes wild on the floor. Everyone in the monitoring room was in shock at Midoriya's speed in incapacitating 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, DMN it, you BSTRD. Let go of me and fight me for real. Midoriya, this fight is over, 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, he said before turning around. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, I'm warning you, Deku. The more you keep this up, the more I'll get angry and want to crush you. Midoriya stops walking and turns his head a little without looking directly at 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽. Midoriya, your anger and your ego are the problem. If you let them consume you, you'll soon lose sight of what you're doing. Here's a tip from a classmate for you. Think about it. He said this before running to Yaoyorozu. 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽 got even angrier. He didn't like that Midoriya had easily trapped him and that he still wanted to teach himself a moral lesson. He stared at the capture tapes around him and started to think. Midoriya reaches the floor that Yaoyorozu mentioned and finds the room. When opening the door, the greenish one sees Momo on guard while Ida, well. Another hero has arrived. He said in a villainous way. All Midoriya could think of was, what? He knew Ida would take this test seriously, but never thought this seriously. Ida, 𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐽, are you listening? He tried to communicate with his partner, but, Midoriya, it's no use, 𝐴𝐵𝐻. I already took care of him, he said while walking towards Yaoyorozu. Ida, 𝐴𝐵𝐻 despaired. Now he was alone. He doesn't know how to light too but wouldn't give up that easily. Midoriya looked at Momo and gave a sign that he would take care of 𝐴𝐵𝐻 while she went to the bomb. She understood and nodded. Midoriya slowly walks towards 𝐴𝐵𝐻, who feels a little intimidated, until the greenish one runs all over him. Izuku, I'll stop your evil plans, villain. Yes, Midoriya decided to get in the 𝐴𝐵𝐻 mood, which made not just Yaoyorozu but the rest of the girls, who they all thought were cute. 𝐴𝐻 went to kick Midoriya, but the greenish one blocked his kick and turned to kick him in the torso of his armor, causing 𝐴𝐻 to back away a little. But he didn't have time to react, as Midoriya rushed in on him to give a low right roundhouse kick to the boy's right leg, bringing him to his right knee. Then 𝐴𝐻 was trying to punch and/or kick him, but Midoriya dodged them easily as he jumped back. 𝐴𝐻 saw Yaoyorozu approaching the bomb, but before he could run to it, Midoriya sprang up, tackled the boy down, and held him to the ground, getting on top. 𝐴𝐻 tried to do something, but it was too late. Yaoyorozu touched the bomb. Yaoyorozu, it's done. All Might, and the heroes team wins. Midoriya sighed in relief as he got off 𝐴𝐻, who was down, and reached out to his classmate, who accepted his help to get up. Ida, thank you, Midoriya. I've failed, he said as he removed his helmet. Midoriya, don't be like that, man. It was just training, and you did your best. I say take today's learning experiences and use them to improve yourself in the future. He smiled as he showed his hand to his friend to shake hands. Ida, you're right. Thank you, Midoriya, he said, smiling as he shook the green man's hand. Midoriya turned and walked over to Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu, you did a good job, Midoriya. Midoriya, we did a good job, Yaoyorozu. I couldn't have done it without you. He smiled, his hands on his sides. Yaoyorozu blushed and was even happy about it, but she wasn't confident that she had done much. Yaoyorozu, but I didn't do much. I know I did almost nothing. Midoriya, nothing. Are you serious? Nonsense. You found the bomb and decided to work as a team instead of acting alone. If that's next to nothing, I will have to disagree with you because you were a hero out there. Yaoyorozu was happy about Midoriya's comment. Although she lacked self-confidence, seeing that a guy saw worth in her only made her feel warm. Yaoyorozu, thank you, Midoriya, she said while smiling. Back to the monitor room, All Might. And apparently, the victory went to the heroes. Sato, and they managed to get the bomb before time ran out, he said while pointing to the remaining time, which was 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Uraraka, I knew they would make it. She said with his fist raised. Ahiso, Hagakure, Thuro, Kami. He looked like a badass, / he was serving major vibes. And was relieved that Midoriya's team won. Kirishima. That's what I call a hero at work and taking action. While others commented on what they saw, Tokoyami saw something that surprised him and warned All Might. Tokoyami, All Might look? All Might turned to the screen and couldn't believe what he saw. Back to the building, Midoriya sensed danger coming, and this one was so bad that it started to hurt his head, catching Yaoyorozu and Ida's attention. Before they could say anything to Midoriya, they heard someone else. Bakugo, I'm already loaded. The three looked towards the door and saw Bakugo standing with his right arm raised towards Midoriya. Midoriya, Bakugo. But how did you get loose? He asked as his hands were on his head. Bakugo, I just kept using my explosions, USHT head. Did you think you could beat me without using your quirk to the max? Ida, Bakugo, that's enough. The training is over, we lost. Bakugo, I won't accept this defeat until the nerd fights me with his quirk at full power. Yaoyorozu, Bakugo, calm down. What you're doing is not heroic behavior. Midoriya, she's right. Bakugo, so calm down and think about what you're doing. Your anger is making you act without thinking straight. Let's all calm down and think about what we learned today. Bakugo, what I've learned is that you're making fun of me and that you're underestimating me, you dumb nerd. Midoriya, what the hell are you talking about? Bakugo, for all these years, you've been a nobody I can crush, but you've been lying behind my back laughing about being a late bloomer. But ever since you showed your quirk, you took everything that was supposed to be mine. And now, just because you did some CRP but moves, you thought that would be enough to defeat me. Midoriya, are you serious right now? I'm not underestimating you. I've never lied to you or laughed at you. I was a late bloomer, but you never want to hear it. You're the one who's impatient, hot-headed, and self-centered. You're the one who doesn't think straight. Bakugo was annoyed by Midoriya's comment, but he smiled afterward. Bakugo, since you're so observant, you probably know how my amazing quirk works. Bakugo pointed his right gauntlet straight at Izuku. I secrete a substance similar to nitroglycerin in my sweat from my hands and make it explode. Imagine what I could do if I had too much. Bakugo pulls the level of the gauntlet as if he was ping a gun, and a pin pops out of it. Positions himself and continues. Bakugo, these gauntlets weren't just made for show. They've been storing my sweat for a monstrous blast, he said as he put a finger on the pin. Midoriya was able to quickly see what was going to happen as his eyes widened. Midoriya, whoa Bakugo, are you crazy? He shouted, backing up a bit. Ida and Yaoyorozu were also quick to realize what was going to happen. Ida, Bakugo, you're going to blow us with it. And I'm your teammate. He shouted to his teammate. Yaoyorozu, in a real situation, you're going to blow up this whole building. Back to the building, All Might heard everything in the monitoring room and despaired. All Might, young Bakugo, that's enough. You'll end up killing them. Everyone was in shock at what they heard. Zero, whoa wow wow. Is he crazy? Kirishima. He wouldn't do that, would he? Class 1A girls minus Yaoyorozu. Midori, Greeny, Midoriya, get out of there. /yo Midoriya, dip out of there. They screamed, desperate for Midoriya's safety. Back to the building, Bakugo. He won't die as long as he dodges, he said as he pulled the pin. As Midoriya despaired, he quickly activated his quirk and pushed Ida through a door on his left. He turned toward Yaoyorozu on his right and pushed her through another door. Once he saw they were safe, he failed to notice the blast approaching him and didn't have time to react. When the blast hit Midoriya, he felt the pressure from the gauntlet, which caused his hero suit to rip slightly. The force launched him back, destroying the fake bomb and crashing him through the wall to the outside of the building. The explosion devastated the room and left a large hole in the wall. After the explosion subsided and the shock wore off, everyone turned their attention to Midoriya's location. Looking through the monitors, they couldn't see him, which caused All Might and the girls in the monitoring room to worry. Meanwhile, Ida and Yaoyorozu managed to get up from the floor and began searching for Midoriya through their respective doors. All Might, is everyone all right? Young Ida. Young Yaoyorozu. Young Midoriya. he asked. 𝐼𝐮𝐴/𝐻𝐼𝐻. Yeah. They both said but did not hear Midoriya's answer. All Might, young Midoriya, are you okay? Can you hear me? Come on, answer me. 𝐼𝐻, 𝐵𝐿, do you realize what you've done? 𝐵𝐿, that's what he gets for underestimating me and making fun of me. 𝐻𝐼𝐻, Midoriya. Midoriya, where are you? She looked through the whole room to see if Midoriya was all right. Outside of the building, the blast's impact propelled Midoriya. As he collided with another building, his back slammed into the wall. He fell, hitting a metal fence and another wall and finally landing on the ground. Midoriya tried to get back up slowly, as he was in much pain. But he couldn't reach his feet because his back hurt, so he sat in the building. Midoriya was breathing hard, but not too much from the effects. Examining his hero suit, he noticed burn marks, several cuts and tears in his jacket, some bleeding, and a significant rip in his mask, exposing his left eye and a damaged respirator revealing his mouth. Midoriya, holy 𝐻𝐻. That idiot could have killed me. I don't think that was even allowed. He said breathlessly as he saw his hands shaking. Well, I don't blame them. Midoriya put his hands down and looked at the building with a vast blast hole. He heard 𝐻𝐼𝐻 and 𝐼𝐻 calling him. Midoriya, 𝐻𝐼𝐻, ow, ow, f. He tried to call them, but it hurt to yell. So he tried one more time. 𝐼𝐻, ow, f. 𝐼𝐻 heard him and quickly went to the hole. There he saw Midoriya on the ground, sitting with his back to the wall. 𝐼𝐻, Midoriya. He shouted as he ran towards him. Then 𝐻𝐼𝐻 saw him and ran with 𝐼𝐻 to Midoriya. 𝐻𝐼𝐻, Midoriya, are you okay? She asked as she stopped by his side with 𝐼𝐻. 𝐼𝐻, holy CRP Midoriya? You're hurt. He said as he looked at Midoriya's condition. Midoriya, I'm fine. But my back hurts. I think I broke my ribs. He said as he was catching his breath. 𝐻𝐼𝐻, come on 𝐼𝐻, we must take him to the nurse. 𝐼𝐻, right? Let's go Midoriya. He said as he and 𝐻𝐼𝐻 grabbed Midoriya's arms and put them on their shoulders. As they started to walk, everyone in the monitor room saw them and was worried about Midoriya. Before All Might left, the girls rushed to Midoriya, worried. As the trio was walking, they stopped where they were because 𝐵𝐿 was in Midoriya's way, looking like he wanted round 𝐵𝐿. So, nerd. What do you think? Are you going to give up or will you face me? I know you can still move. So come on, have at me. Fight me to show everyone that I'm superior to you. 𝐼𝐻 and 𝐻𝐼𝐻 were displeased with 𝐵𝐿 because he didn't care about Midoriya's state and wanted to fight him. Before 𝐵𝐿 continued, he heard voices behind him as he looked back to see the girls of his class running towards them. Uraraka, leave Deku alone, 𝐵𝐿. Sue, the test is over. Ribbit, Ashido, what the hell were you thinking? Hagakure, were you trying to kill him? Jiro, hell, you could have also hurt 𝐼𝐻 and 𝐻𝐼𝐻. Cammy, bruh, you still salty over that. And, even when Midoriya is hurt, you still want to fight him. This irritated 𝐵𝐿 that they were defending Midoriya. 𝐵𝐿, shut the hell up, you demon extras. He shouted, making the girls gasp. Then he had a murderous smile. You know what, before I fight Deku, I'll fight you all first. Then you'll learn your places. This scared the girls and 𝐵𝐿 got ready to attack 𝐼𝐻. 𝐻𝐼𝐻, as was every student running towards them who heard them, was shocked. Some were about to stop him, but someone beat them to it. Midoriya, Katsuki 𝐵𝐿. Everyone was shocked to see Midoriya standing distant from 𝐼𝐻, and 𝐻𝐼𝐻 was surprised. Midoriya got mad at 𝐵𝐿 over many things, but for the first time, he was furious that 𝐵𝐿 would hurt his friends, which made him activate his quirk. Midoriya, you can do whatever you want with me. But I won't let you hurt my friends. He said with a serious expression, charging up his quirk to the max. You wanted me to fight you with my quirk maxed. Well, you've got it. 𝐵𝐿 turned towards Midoriya with a menacing smile. He pulled his hands up, creating big explosions. As they were getting ready, Midoriya quickly told those close to them. Midoriya, 𝐼𝐻, girls, stand back. I've got this, he told them before they could say anything. Midoriya said, Please trust me. The students gathered to witness the intense situation unfolding between Midoriya and 𝐻𝗚𝐻𝗚. 𝐻𝗚𝗚 was determined to prove that he was the best and that Midoriya was a nobody. Meanwhile, Midoriya closed his eyes, charging his quirk to 50%, though he was unaware that it had reached 55%. He lifted his right arm into an L shape and cracked his fingers. 𝐻𝗚𝗚 charged at Midoriya, closing the distance for an attack. Just as 𝐻𝗚𝗚 was about to strike, Midoriya opened his eyes and delivered a powerful punch, slamming 𝐻𝗚𝗚 into the ground with such force that it created a crater and unleashed a wave of wind pressure. 𝐻𝗚𝗚 was knocked out in one hit, spitting out BLD upon impact. All the students looked on in shock as Midoriya defeated 𝐻𝗚𝗚 with a single punch. Midoriya then walked away from the unconscious 𝐻𝗚𝗚 toward the rest of the students. After deactivating his quirk, the pain returned, and he felt a hand on his shoulder. Turning around, he saw All Might and Recovery Girl standing beside him. All Might, take it easy, young Midoriya. Just rest up or... After Recovery Girl scolded Midoriya and healed him, the robots took 𝐻𝗚𝗚 to Recovery Girl's office, and the class resumed as usual. With Midoriya being the MVP, the rest of the teams continued their activities normally. Once hero training ended, everyone headed toward the locker rooms, conversing with Midoriya. Kirishima, hey Mido bro. Man, how you fought was terrific bro, he said as he wrapped his arm around Midoriya's neck. 𝗧𝗟𝗘, hey man. I'm 𝗧𝗓𝗧𝗟𝗘, and you were amazing out there, Midoriya, he said, introducing himself again in case he forgot his name. Jiro, hey Midoriya, I must admit that you did well out there, she said, smiling at him. Ashido, yeah Midori, your dodges were amazing. Hagakure, and the way you disappeared was so cool. You've got to show me how you did that. Aoyama, you were far from elegant, but you had style, mon ami. I must admit. 𝗬𝗏𝗡, yeah, you were so cool out there cutie. And, yeah, I hope I can get to your level one day. Cammy, you were vibin' out there cutie, she said, still confusing everyone. Midoriya was not expecting to receive such praise, and he felt a mix of surprise and embarrassment about it. Being recognized by many people was a rare occurrence in his life, but it brought him happiness. Before the conversation could continue, Yaoyorozu approached Midoriya with a concerned expression. Yaoyorozu, hey Midoriya. Midoriya, oh hi Yaoyorozu, what's up? Yaoyorozu, how are you doing? Midoriya, I'm fine honestly. Besides the 𝐻𝗚𝗚 parts, nothing serious happened. But what about you, how are you? Yaoyorozu, that's good. I'm fine, thanks to you. Thank you so much and I'm sorry. I couldn't help you that time. She said this as she was saddened by what had happened. Midoriya, no need to do that, Yaoyorozu. I just did what a hero would do. The problem is, I didn't think to save myself either. So I apologize for worrying you, he said while smiling and rubbing his head. Yaoyorozu blushed a little at that but smiled back. Some in the group found this strange, while a confident, short man was jealous. It continued like this until Kaminari was about to ask out Uraraka, but she approached Midoriya with a worried face. Uraraka, hey Deku. Midoriya, yeah. Uraraka, I know you said you're fine, but I can't help but still worry about you, she said next to Midoriya, looking down a bit. Then she looked at him, involving the other girls. And I'm not the only one. This surprised Midoriya as he also saw the other girls with worried expressions. Midoriya felt terrible for making them worry and then looked back at Uraraka with a sad expression. Midoriya, I'm sorry for making you girls worry. He said this to the girls, making them blush a bit. Then something happened that shocked everyone. Cammy, it's okay Deku. Just try to be more careful next time, please, she said, surprising everyone by saying she spoke normally. Then Midoriya nodded to her answer, making the girls relax a bit. Then Midoriya told Uraraka something. Midoriya, hey, Uraraka after school, bring all the girls and meet me at the entrance, he said to Uraraka, confusing her and the girls, to which they nodded. Then he turned to some of the guys. Ida, Kirishima, Kaminari, 𝗧𝗟𝗧𝗏, and Tokoyami, if you want, you can also meet me at the entrance. This confused them, but they nodded and agreed on where to meet Midoriya at the entrance. Time skip after school. The class ended with the students, and Midoriya mentioned he wanted to meet. When he arrived, he shared that he had an idea for everyone. They followed Midoriya to an arcade in the mall, which he felt was his way of apologizing to the girls and the rest of the group. The girls were delighted and hugged Midoriya, making Kaminari and 𝗧𝗟𝗃 feel jealous that he had all the girls fawning over him. Meanwhile, Kirishima captured the moment by taking a secret photo. They got to know 𝐻𝗳𝗎 better and saw she was not just some smart, rich girl. She's a sweet girl who has low confidence in herself, cares about others, and is willing to be a hero no matter how long it takes. 𝐻𝗳𝗎 bought everyone wonderful gifts, so lovely that some of her friends were joyful. The boys also received gifts, but Midoriya had something even more special planned as a surprise. This made the green-haired boy very happy while also stirring jealousy among the others, especially the girls. Midoriya had been using his phone since he was 13 years old, and when 𝐻𝗳𝗎 asked for it, she noticed how old it was. In a playful gesture, she grabbed his hand and led him somewhere, making the other girls even more jealous. Once they arrived, she told him to wait outside while she went into the store. Everyone was curious why they had to wait outside the store. Then she emerged and walked toward Midoriya, holding a bag for him. As he grabbed it and opened it, he discovered 𝐻𝗳𝗎 had bought him a new smartphone. This surprised everyone, especially Midoriya, who was about to return it, but 𝐻𝗳𝗎 insisted he keep it. Midoriya initially believed that the phone was a gift from 𝐻𝗳𝗎, but she clarified that it wasn't what she intended to give him. 𝐻𝗳𝗎 helped him set up his new phone, transferring all the contacts from his old device, including her number. The other girls, excluding Jiro, Cammy, and N, who will join later, felt 𝐻𝗳𝗎 wouldn't defeat them that easily and were determined to fight. As night began to fall, 𝐻𝗳𝗎 offered to give everyone a ride home. When Midoriya returned to the orphanage, he cared for the kids and managed the problematic couple, but it didn't bother him as much this time. When he went to bed, he had a big smile. Midoriya felt that he was having the time of his life. Things were improving. Gate Midoriya went to U. The next day, after helping the orphanage children and dealing with the troublesome couple. As he approached the entrance, he noticed a group of reporters blocking his path. Midoriya, they must have discovered that All Might was working at UA as a teacher. The press scares me sometimes. When Midoriya tries to walk through the gate, reporters suddenly bombard him with questions. Questions like, "Hey kid, what's it like being around All Might? What's it like having All Might as a teacher?" Midoriya knows how to navigate past the press. He needs to ignore them while fighting his way through. However, a reporter suddenly grabbed him by the arm. "Reporter, excuse me, could you wait a moment and answer a few questions?" Midoriya, "Sorry miss. But I'm late for class and don't have time for that." The reporter wasn't going to give in when she tried to enter the gate, but the gate's barriers stopped her, thus blocking her way. Midoriya, realizing he wouldn't be bothered anymore, continued to the classroom. Once there, he sat down at his desk just as Mr. Izawa entered. "Izawa, I hope you all rested from the combat training. I took the opportunity to look around and evaluate your results." He then looked at Bakugo and gave an unfriendly look. "Izawa, Bakugo, you have potential, but it's time to stop acting like a child and start maturing. If you cause another incident like that, you will be expelled. Accept your defeats gracefully. Even though you have a strong quirk, we do not keep those who try to undermine others. You are fortunate that Midoriya managed to dodge your attack and survived. Had he not, you could be facing charges of attempted murder. Consider this a serious warning. Do you understand?" Bakugo turned his head and didn't say anything. He just kept his head on his hand and looked to the side, making Izawa sigh and then look at Midoriya. "Izawa and Midoriya, please refrain from pulling a stunt like that again. It's okay to stand up for your friends, but next time, be more careful and try not to hurt your classmates seriously. Other than that, how you fought was impressive, but don't give wet willies to anyone, alright?" Midoriya, "Yes, sir," he said, a little sad. Some students again tried to suppress their laughter, and Bakugo remained irritated because he had spent 3 hours cleaning his ears after arriving home. "Izawa, alright, Now that it's over, we have a special task for you and it's vital. Everyone in the room starts to get worried. 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴, you will have to choose a representative. Class A students, a normal activity. Kirishima, choose me guys. I want to be the representative. Kaminari, I want it too. He had his hand raised. Jiro, I will too. She had her hand up. Aoyama, someone with style would dash. Ishido cut him. Ishido, I'm the right choice for this. Midoriya, wow. Everyone wants to be the representative, he thought while looking at everyone screaming to be the representative. Would that be a good thing for me? 𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐷, silence please. Everyone turned to 𝐿𝐷, who was standing. 𝐿𝐷, a representative must lead others. This is not something that anyone can do. You must first have everyone's trust in the classroom. Therefore, the most logical thing is to position a democracy. Choose our representative, he said while shaking and raising his hand. Midoriya, what are you up to, Ida? He thought while scratching his head with a confused look. Kaminari, do you think this is a good idea? Tsu, we've only known each other for a few days. How are we going to know who we can trust? Well, for the most part, she said with a finger on her chin. Kirishima, besides, won't everyone vote for themselves? 𝐿𝐷, most people will. But whoever gets the most votes is the one who is best suited for this job. It's the best way, right, sir? 𝐿𝐷 asked 𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐷, who was in his sleeping bag. 𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐷, feel free to do whatever you want. Please decide quietly before my nap ends, he said tiredly. It didn't take long for him to fall to the floor and fall asleep. 𝐿𝐷, thank you for your trust. Yaoyorozu, it does seem more official, okay? Takes out box everyone, please take a piece of paper and write your vote, and we'll put it in the box. Jiro, where did you get those? Yaoyorozu, confused, I've always had them. One must be prepared for everything. Soon, everyone received a piece of paper to select their class president. While some students had already decided whom to vote for, Yaoyorozu still contemplated her choice. Then, she glanced at Midoriya and recalled his impressive actions during their combat training for her benefit and the group's victory. She felt a slight blush rise to her cheeks at the memory of what he had done for her, but she had ultimately decided on her vote. Election results: Izuku Midoriya, 9 Momo Yaoyorozu, 7 Midoriya. Wait, how did I get 9 votes? He shouted as he didn't expect to receive 9 votes. 𝐻𝐿𝐷 win. Bakugo, okay you idiots. Who voted for 𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐷? Did you think we would vote for you? While Bakugo was yelling at 𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐷, Uraraka and a few others were whistling and minding their business as if nothing had happened, Ida was already sitting in his chair in shock. He couldn't believe he had 0 votes. 𝐿𝐷, I give up. 0 votes. I feared this would happen. But I can't contest the system I suggested, he said to himself while the others looked at him. Yaoyorozu, so you voted for someone else? Sato, did you know it was better to vote for yourself? What were you thinking, Ida? After showing the results, Midoriya and Yaoyorozu stood next to each other in front of the class. 𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐷, all right, our representative is Midoriya, with Yaoyorozu as his deputy, he said, announcing in a bored and monotonous way. Midoriya just sighed and said, Midoriya, I'll do my best. Yaoyorozu, you can count on my help, representative, she said as she was somehow happy to be partnered again with Izuku. Of course, she wanted to be a representative, but the position she received was already a good size. Time skip, lunch. After that, it was time for lunch. Midoriya sat at a table with Uraraka, Ishido, Hagakure, and Ida as they ate lunch. Midoriya, sigh, he said as he stared at his food. Ida, you seem troubled, Midoriya. Midoriya, I don't see how I was chosen to be the representative. Couldn't it have been Yaoyorozu? 𝐿𝐷, smile. Don't worry, I am confident you'll make a great class president. Midoriya, shocked. Wait, did you vote for me? Uraraka, not just him, but I did too. Ishido, us too, Midori. Hagakure, I totally wouldn't mind if it were you. Yaoyorozu, I voted for you too, Midoriya. The 5 turned their heads to the side of the table and saw Yaoyorozu with her plate of food. Yaoyorozu, can I join you? Midoriya, yeah, of course, he said as he made room for 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 to sit beside him. Ida, so you also voted for Midoriya? 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘, yeah, after what he did yesterday in the combat training, I feel like he's the right person to represent one. Ida, I see, it's almost the same reason I voted for him. Midoriya, wait a minute, did you vote for me too, Ida? Ida, your courage and quick thinking in critical moments make you a leader worth following. Out of all of us, you likely have the most heroic spirit. Additionally, the skills you demonstrated yesterday were impressive. That's why I chose you, he said before taking another spoonful of his soup. Uraraka, but Ida, didn't you want to be the class representative? You have glasses and everything else. Midoriya, Uraraka says things without thinking. He thought with a comical bead of sweat coming out of his head while 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 and 𝐻𝐻𝗃ure laughed at this. Ida, wanting and being suitable for it are different issues. I just did what I thought was right. 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘, but what about you, Midoriya? Didn't you vote for yourself? She asked. Before Midoriya could answer, 𝐻𝐻𝗃 poked in. 𝐻𝐻𝗃, Yamamoto has a point, Midori. Why didn't you vote for yourself? 𝐻𝐻𝗃ure, yeah, you would have more votes. Midoriya, well, yeah, but I voted for 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 because I thought she'd be the right person for this position. Now I wonder who the other person who voted for me was. 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 felt a hint of blush rise to her cheeks after what Midoriya said about her. She was happy about his compliment, but the other girls felt jealous. While Midoriya contemplated who else had voted for him, Uraraka changed the subject. Uraraka, hey Ida, I wanted to ask you something. You're rich, aren't you? Ida, I was afraid someone would ask this soon. So yeah, I was just worried about how people would treat me if they knew about my family. Midoriya, Uraraka, 𝐻𝐻𝗃, 𝐻𝐻𝗃ure, and 𝐻𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 approached Ida to find out about his family. Ida, my family has heroes for generations, and I am the youngest son of the Ida family. Do you know the hero Ingenium? Midoriya, of course I do. He's the hero of speed and very respectable, besides having 65 sidekicks and… Wait a minute, don't tell me that. Ida, that's right, he is my older brother. He said proudly, he is a hero who respects the rules and guides others. My goal is to become a hero like my brother. However, I believe it's still too early to take on a leadership role. Unlike me, Midoriya understood the significance of the practical test during the entrance exam, which makes him the best candidate for the job. Uraraka, this is the first time I've seen you smile, Ida. 𝐻𝐻𝗃, yeah bro. You should smile more. 𝐻𝐻𝗃ure, for sure, dude. Ida, what? Really? But I smiled. Midoriya, now I understand. Ingenium is to Ida what All Might is to me. He thought to himself, then turned to Ida, saying, Ida, I'm sure you'll manage to be a hero like your brother. Ida, thank you, Midoriya. Midoriya, and about the practical test, I don't. He said before an alarm bell went off, drawing the attention of all the students in the cafeteria. Warning! There has been a Level 3 security breach. All students, evacuate the building in an organized manner. A female voice spoke through the speakers, and students started to run. Ida, what's a Level 3 security breach? Ida asked a student who was by his desk. Student. That means someone managed to get through the school gate. This has never happened in my 3 years here. Run. The student said while running. What happened next was pure chaos, as everyone hastily tried to evacuate simultaneously, in complete disarray. Everyone was crammed in, and there was almost no room to breathe. It was a very uncomfortable situation. Midoriya and his friends were being pushed during this time, and Midoriya ended up in the window. Midoriya, ouch, holy e, he said when he hit his face in the window. Ida, as expected of the best. Everyone reacts quickly to a crisis. He screamed while being crushed. Midoriya slammed his face into the window again and stopped to look out the window to see what was happening. Midoriya, wait, it's the press. Were they the ones who caused all this chaos? Outside, the press was at the school door, with Aizawa and Present Mike blocking their way. Reporter, all we want is All Might. He's here somewhere. Present Mike, You guys better get off the school grounds. I'm warning you. Cameraman, just give us a comment and let's go. Aizawa, I understand how you all operate. Once you receive one comment, you'll likely seek another. That's just your nature. Present Mike, they're trespassing on the property, making them villains. Why don't we beat them up? He said as he wanted to use his quirk in the press. Aizawa, don't even think about it. Unless you want your name dirty in the mud, let's wait for the cops. Realizing that all this chaos was happening because the press wanted an interview with All Might, Midoriya shook his head. Midoriya, I need to calm everyone down. Think, Izuku, what would All Might do? Or rather, what would I do? I have to take action, but what should it be? He thought for a bit, then an idea came to his head. Absolutely. I can take this approach to defuse the situation. Midoriya shouted, Uraraka, as Uraraka turned to him. Make me float. Midoriya extended his hand to Uraraka, who also did the same. She struggled but managed to touch the greenish fingers, causing her quirk to activate. Midoriya, 𝐴𝐿𝐷, push me to the door, 𝐴𝐿𝐷, leave it to me. He shouted, no sooner said than done. Ida grabbed Midoriya's shoulders and threw him toward the door. Once he reached the door, he got to his feet and yelled. Midoriya, all right, everyone, calm down. There's nothing to worry about, it's just the press. Even while screaming, no one was paying attention to him. However, when Midoriya saw Uraraka, Ishido, Hagakure, and Yaoyorozu being pushed across the floor, along with some of his other classmates, he became frustrated. He noticed that 2 female students were trapped, and one was knocked down, which caused the other girl to worry. At that moment, something inside Midoriya snapped, and he felt a surge of anger. To get everyone's attention, he slammed his arm into the wall. It worked. Everyone stopped and turned to look at Midoriya, who had an angry expression. Midoriya, can you all calm down at once? It's just the press out there making this chaos. The teachers already have everything under control, so there's nothing to fear. Hell, were you students, guys? Stop yelling out loud like that. We're here to be heroes, so start acting like one and have some common sense, for God's sake. Midoriya, oh, I don't know what came over me. All the students quieted down and sighed with relief upon hearing the police sirens, indicating that the press would leave any moment. Midoriya began to descend and walked toward his friends. When he reached them, he saw that Ida, Uraraka, Ishido, Hagakure, and Yaoyorozu were pleased with his situation management. Before they could talk to Midoriya, he quickly left to check on the 2 female students. As he arrived, he noticed a female student who appeared worried. She was a short girl with a round face and a brief equine muzzle, framed by thick, wavy blonde hair that cascaded halfway down her back, with shorter bangs resting on her forehead. Her large, round eyes were a striking Prussian blue, and she sported a pair of tall, lyre-shaped pale tan horns on her head. The other female student who fainted was a short girl with a relatively thin build. She had honey-brown hair styled in a mushroom-shaped bob that reached just below her narrow shoulders. A long fringe covered her eyes, obscuring most of her face, and she had a large mouth. Midoriya quickly stopped in front of them and asked them some questions. Midoriya, excuse me, is she okay? And no, she isn't. We were trying to pass through and, as someone hit her causing her to pee pass out. She was saying with Midoriya noticing her Japanese wasn't the greatest. Midoriya decided to carry the girl in her bridal style to the recovery girl's office. Ida, Uraraka, Ishido, Hagakure, and Yaoyorozu saw this and quickly approached Midoriya. Yaoyorozu, what happened? Midoriya, a student injured her, causing her to lose consciousness. I'm taking her to recovery girl's office. Ida, unbelievable. This is not how a student should act. He said, chopping his arm. Uraraka, I hope she is okay, she said, worried. Ishido, I can't believe that 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 didn't even come to check on her. She retorted. Hagakure, I know, right? Midoriya and the rest walked the rest of the way during lunch to recovery girl's office. When they got there, the blonde female student opened the door and called on recovery girl. Excuse me, our recovery girl, she said a little off. Recovery girl, yes, my dear, she said, turning towards them. Then, I saw the unconscious female student in Midoriya's arms. Bring her to a bed and tell me what happened. Midoriya? The students got freaked out by the alarm earlier, so they were trying to leave, but it got crowded, and someone hit her. He says this while placing the short, honey-brown-haired female student onto the bed. Recovery girl, I will check on her condition. Please inform your professor, and I will release her as soon as she is well, she said, focusing on the girl. She's in my class. I'll let our professor know, said the blonde-haired girl as everyone left Recovery Girl's office. As everyone was about to leave, she called out for Midoriya. Midoriya turned to her, as did his classmates. Thank you for helping me with my friend, she said in terrible Japanese. This caused the girl to be embarrassed and speak in another language. Why can't I speak Japanese perfectly? I've been doing a lot of reading, and I still can't get it. Ida, Uraraka, Ashido, Hagakure, and Yaoyorozu knew the language she was speaking. It was English, but no one knew how to speak it. But then, everyone was going to get a surprise from Midoriya. Midoriya, so you're a transfer student? He said in perfect English, surprising everyone, including the blonde-haired girl. Gasp, you can speak English too. Midoriya, yeah, I've met a few people who can speak different languages. He said, as he knew some people who spoke different languages at the orphanage. So he learned as he grew up. The blonde-haired girl was so happy that she approached Midoriya and hugged him. This surprised Midoriya, and he returned the hug, which made the girls jealous. This is so amazing that you can understand English too, she said happily, jumping up and down. After a while, she let go of him. Oh, sorry. I don't know your name, mister. I'm Pony Tsunatori. She introduced herself. As Midoriya was about to say something, Pony interrupted. Call me Pony, please. Midoriya, nice to meet you, Pony. He was introducing himself when he was interrupted by the bell. Pony, oh shoot, I need to get to class. Thanks, everyone, she said as she ran to her class. Midoriya and the others waved at her. Then Midoriya remembered his classmates. Midoriya, oh 𝐶RP. Are you guys okay? Did any of you get hurt? He asked worriedly while looking at the girls. Uraraka, no, I'm fine. What you did just now was incredible, Deku. Yaoyorozu, normally I don't condone yelling, but at a time like this, I must say you did a great job, she said with a smile. Ashido/Hagakure, we're fine too. They both said it simultaneously as they were lost in their thoughts. But you're so fine, Midoriya. Ida, apparently, I made the right choice in voting for you as a representative, Midoriya. Meanwhile, outside, the police arrived and ordered them to leave unless they wanted to be arrested. Midoriya looked at this whole scene and started to think. Midoriya, could being a leader be beneficial for me? Would I be a good leader like the legends? Could this be valuable practice to becoming the #1 hero? He thought as he looked at his hand before clenching it. Yaoyorozu, by the way, Midoriya, what did that girl say to you? Midoriya, oh, she just said her name was Pony Tsunatori, that her Japanese still needs more work, and she was happy that someone else could speak English. Back at class 1A, the students eagerly waited for All Might to arrive and teach them hero basics. However, Aizawa showed up instead. Aizawa, 5 seconds, getting better. Anyway, since All Might is out sick injured and with the media still lingering around, I'm afraid the hero basics class is cancelled, he said in a monotone. Students, /man what/diminute, that's lame. Aizawa, glare, shut up, he said, activating his quirk. Students. Aizawa, now on to other news. First, next week, we will be going to the USJ. Kaminari, smile, gasp, he said happily. Aizawa glares at Kaminari, and before you say it, no, we are not going to Universal Studios Japan. Kaminari, sad, he said sadly, causing Jiro to laugh a bit. Aizawa, it stands for Unforeseen Situation Joint Test. You will learn the basics for catching villains in different environments there. Tsu, but why in a week, sir? Ribbit. Aizawa, Since All Might is unwell, we won't go until he's better. We will also be joining the other hero course class. Therefore, I want Midoriya and Yaoyorozu to greet them tomorrow to build good relationships. Midoriya/Yaoyorozu, yes sir. Aizawa, that is all, you're dismissed, he said as he left the room. After Aizawa left, the students chose to remain for a while and engage in conversation with one another. Kirishima, man, this is, I was hoping to try out some new moves I got. Sue, it can't be helped if our teacher is out. It was bad enough with the media here. Kaminari, scared yeah, I don't want to fight off villains yet, he said, shivering. Uraraka, wait, why is that Kaminari? Siro explained to Uraraka, we are just students and many villains are out there. They usually band together to commit various bad deeds. Mineta, scared they're super scary. Especially the ones that don't have much information about their quirks. I heard that pros and even All Might had trouble with them. He said, shivering. Bakugo, please, these villains ain't 𝐶𝐶, they're just a bunch of weaklings. All extras trying to be a tough guy, I'll crush every last one of them. He said, making mini explosions in his hands. Yaoyorozu, regardless, we should be careful outside of school until the media dies down, though we should be safe here at school. Kirishima, smile hey Bakugo, since you don't have anything to do, wanna go to the arcade? Bakugo, why the hell would I want to hang out with you? He said, closing his eyes. Kirishima, smile come on, don't tell me you're scared that I might beat you. He said teasingly, which caused Bakugo to tick. Bakugo, mad as if you 𝐶𝐶 head. Fine you're on. The two of them got their things and left. Kaminari, Siro, and Sato thought it sounded fun, so they decided to tag along. And, he does know he doesn't have to yell, right? Midoriya, you get used to it. Time skip, after school Ishido, it feels so good to get out of school early. She said this with her hands in the air. Hagakure, not really, we still had to wait for the last bell. Ida, hand chop I may not agree with early dismissal, however, it can't help when both teachers are out, he said sternly. Uraraka, All Might is sick and our other teachers are keeping the media away. What will you guys do? Ulda, I think I'll head home and study. Our fights made me realize that I still have much room to grow. Yaoyorozu, I think I'll do that as well. Tsu, I must go home and care for my siblings. Jiro, I think I'll just head home. And, yes, same. I've got a lot of stuff to do. She said everyone bought it but not Midoriya, so he went along. Ishido, Toru and I are going to the mall, she said, getting close to her. Hagakure, yep, got to get ready for the season. Uraraka, cool. Would you mind if I came along? She asks, approaching them. Cammy, can I vibe with you too? She also asks. Ishido, yeah, sure, smirk wanna tag along Midori? Midoriya, oh, I can't. Ishido, what? But why? She said sadly, being dramatic. Midoriya, I just have a lot of things to do, he said, trying to make it convincing. Ishido, okay, it's fine. She said sadly. Hagakure, I guess some other time Midori. Uraraka, I hope you get it done, Deku. Cammy, I'll hit you up later, Deku. Ida, hand chop don't forget to study Midoriya. It's important to keep up with your studies. He said, making everyone there sweat. Yaoyorozu, hey Midoriya, if you'd like, I can give you a ride, she offered. Midoriya, no, thank you. I'll walk instead. Midoriya was heading back to the orphanage, with everyone waving goodbye to him. With Ishido bummed out by this. And everyone there was curious. Ishido, tearing up a bit, I wanted Midori to come. Hagakure, oh, come on Mina, it's not too bad, she said, patting her back. Uraraka, Mina, why did you want Deku to come? Ishido, it was because I wanted to buy a new swimsuit, she said in a calm tone, which then turned into a 𝐶𝐶 tone with her hands on her neck. And I thought giving him a nice view. This shocked everyone there, especially the girls, who made their faces blush. Before Ida could say anything, Uraraka intervened. Uraraka, you wanted to what? Hagakure, Mina, I can't believe you. Jiro, why would you say that like it was normal? I mean, I would have done the same too. Cammy, facts, I'd vibe with that 𝐬𝗓𝗧𝗟𝗘 and were blushing hard, thinking about what Ishido had just said. Meanwhile, Ida was shocked that all the girls were contemplating something inappropriate with Midoriya. The orphanage Midoriya made it to the orphanage and was met with the SHT heads. Torvald, so you came back, he said sternly with Sakura beside him. That's good, now get to work, brat. Sakura, you may have friends now, but that doesn't mean you get to go off alone, she said snarkily. Midoriya got to work and completed all the tasks they had assigned him. After a while, when it was dinner time, the two approached Midoriya. Torvald, all right brat, listen up, he said with Sakura wrapped around his arm, wearing clothes that meant they were going out again. Midoriya turned to them with Torvald continuing. We're going to be out and probably return in the morning, so stop what you're doing and get these little brats to sleep, all right? Midoriya, so what do I do about this dinner? Sakura, throw it out, we don't care. Midoriya, what? That'll be a waste. Why don't I give it to the kids? Torvald, screw that. I don't want these brats eating. Sakura, oh, Snuggly Bear, you're so manly, she said, getting all lovey-dovey. Torvald, anything for you, my little cuddle muffin, he said, also getting lovey-dovey. Sakura, oh my smoochy poo. Torvald, my little strawberry shortcake. As they were being affectionate, Midoriya watched and wanted to walk away, but couldn't. He thought he might be sick. Midoriya, y'all are gay, he said to them, being grossed out. As soon as Midoriya said that, he felt a tight grip on his neck, causing him to choke. The fact that no one was physically holding him meant that Sakura was using her quirk on him. Sakura, what was that you said, brat? She said with a menacing smile, turning to Midoriya and walking towards him. Author, Suzuki Sakura, her quirk, Mindquake. Mindquake is a powerful offensive quirk that grants the user's psychokinetic abilities, enabling them to manipulate objects and create devastating mental shockwaves. This quirk makes for a cunning and manipulative villain, capable of controlling their environment and opponents with sheer mental force. When Sakura was right up to Midoriya's face, she waited for an answer, but Torvald approached him and put his right hand on his shoulder before he could answer. Torvald, yeah man. What did you say? 'Cause I want to know. He said with a menacing smile. Midoriya felt a burning sensation in his shoulder as he saw that Torvald's hand had turned into magma. Author, Tengen Torvald, his quirk, Magma Mastery. Magma Mastery grants the user the ability to generate and control molten magma. This quirk allows the user to manipulate magma for devastating attacks, creating a fiery and destructive force on the battlefield. The user can summon magma from the ground or generate it from their body to incinerate obstacles and opponents. As Midoriya was wincing in pain and choking, he quickly noticed some of the kids watching and decided to let them have their way. Midoriya, and nothing. He managed to speak as they released him, and he dropped down and began to breathe heavily while coughing. Sakura, that's what I thought, brat. Torvald, oh, that's so hot and CC of you, my hero. He said seductively. Sakura, come on, babe. I'll take you away from this. She said seductively, grabbing his hand. Then, they left the orphanage. As Midoriya was catching his breath, a little girl approached him, worried. Are you okay, big bro? She asked, as every kid in the orphanage called Midoriya big bro, because he acted like an older brother to them. Midoriya, why yeah, I'm okay. Anya. He said to the pink-haired little girl. Author, don't worry, she'll get a family eventually. Also, she's precious. Anya, you don't have to be a liar. She reminded Midoriya that her quirk allows her to read minds. Midoriya, I know, but I don't want you guys to worry. Anya, but who worries about you? As she said, Midoriya felt a bit saddened because he didn't have many people to worry about him. But he quickly shook off that feeling and looked at Anya. Midoriya, all right, I'm going to finish up dinner. Anya, big bro's a liar. Midoriya, well, yeah, I lied. I wasn't going to let this food go to waste. Stop mind reading, please. Anya, okay. Can I help you? Midoriya, yeah sure. You can set up the table for me, he said to Anya as she walked towards the plates and utensils. But then Midoriya quickly said, don't grab the knives, I'll handle the cutting and be careful with the forks, okay? Anya, okay. After a while, they both finished preparing dinner. While Midoriya was plating the food, Anya called everyone to tell them dinner was ready. All the kids in the orphanage came downstairs to eat. Once everyone was seated, Midoriya asked them to wait until he finished saying grace, as they always took turns doing so, and tonight it was his turn. After he said grace, they eagerly dug into the chicken katsu. After dinner, Midoriya sent all the kids to bed, washed the dishes, and went to his room to sleep. As he was heading to bed, he heard a voice behind him. He turned to see Anya there with her stuffed animal, Mr. Chimers. Midoriya, Anya. What are you doing up this late? He said in a low voice. Anya, I can't sleep. Can I sleep with you? She said in a sleepy tone. Midoriya. Why yeah sure. He said, holding a hand for her to come. Anya walked over to Midoriya, who helped her onto the bed. As Midoriya settled onto the bed and prepared to sleep, Anya gently tapped him. He turned to see her move closer, with only a few inches between them. Anya, big bro, she said in a tired tone. Midoriya, yeah. Anya, will I get adopted? Midoriya, of course you will. Anya, are you sure? Midoriya, I'm so sure. I mean, who wants a cute little girl like you? Anya, thank you. Big bro she said as she drifted to sleep. Midoriya wrapped his arms around Anya while he listened to her gentle snores. Holding her, he picked up his phone and scrolled through the photo gallery filled with memories of his time with friends. Lost in thought, he reflected on what Anya had told him earlier. Eventually, he succumbed to sleep, still cradling her. Bonus: we see Torvald and Sakura walking towards a bar. As they knock, a man opens a compartment and asks them questions. Got the password? Torvald, we don't need a password, dipshit. Sakura, besides, we were called by him. Do you want to talk to him if he wonders why we're late meeting him? The man closed the compartment and opened the door for them. My apologies, Torvald and Sakura. Torvald, you're fine. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. The man was called 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. He was a dark, ghastly-looking man with yellow eyes who was wearing a suit. As the couple went inside, the room was empty, and then a portal appeared in front of them. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, come on in. The MSDR's waiting. He gestured for them to enter the portal. They stepped through the portal and found themselves greeted by two figures. The first was a scrawny-looking man with light blue hair, dressed entirely in black except for his bright red shoes. He had hands on his arms, shoulders, and head. The second figure was a tall man in a tuxedo, whose face was obscured by shadow. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 walked up to them. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, Torval and Sakura have arrived, he said, bowing to them and then walking to his right side. Thank you, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, he said to him, turning to them. Now Torvald and Sakura. I have something to discuss with you. And it has something to do with you. And you know someone who goes there, right? Torvald/Sakura. Yes, sir. Good. I want you to monitor this student and determine if anything happens closely. Torvald. Of course, sir. Sakura, we won't disappoint you. All for one.